What's up, guys? We are live. We got the dream team together. Go in order. We got Austin Summers, Andy from Kill Your Inner Loser, and Marcus from Ultimate Man Project. So these are the guys who I think are some of the best in the game, and I'm really, really pumped for this podcast to get started. Let's just do like a very quick round of intros for anyone who's not familiar with anyone on this panel. Let's just go up with you, Austin. We'll just go like this, counterclockwise.
Hey, my name's Austin. I'm a dating coach similar to everyone else here. And I guess the thing people think of when they think of me is like I just have like a fun style and I'm very holistic. So I like to involve different elements of health and stuff like that. So yeah. I don't know if you want my backstory, but that's the
I think that's good enough. That's actually what gravitated me towards your content is when you were doing those Facebook posts where you were talking about like I don't know, like 6 natural ways to boost your testosterone and shit. That's what made me like gravitate towards your content originally. All right, let's go with you, Andy.
I love that you said, Austin, that holistic approach. That's absolutely my shit as well. Like, I focus on the mental side of things, I'd say, more than anything. Also, a bit of sex, bit of dating, bit of BDSM, threesomes, money, trying to do everything. Jack of all trades.
Yeah, someone one day sent me your website and they were like, "Yo, this guy does exactly what you do, but he does threesomes. You should do this." I was like, "Oh shit, badass website." Because that's the one thing I never really did publicly or even privately that much. All right, let's go with you, Marcus.
Yeah, man. So Marcus Wolf, we have our Ultimate Man Project, which is cold approach, texting, and then we also have Orgasmic Bliss Coaching, which is all the sex coaching side of things as well.
Yeah, so what made me gravitate towards Marcus is when we were in Poland, I saw him cold approach, and it was the fucking craziest wizard shit ever. I remember distinctly that, where was it? Like that there was like I remember in Poland that one night when I was so pod, there was like a lot of aggressive Polish dudes. And then like I approached this group and these dudes came in, they're like, "Yo, get away from my girl." And then I remember you went in like 20, 30 minutes later, and somehow within 2 minutes you had isolated the girl. I think you pretended initially like you were gay or something. You fucked with the guys and then you isolated the girl.
Yeah, that's the secret.
This is some pickup wizardry right here. Whatever this guy's doing, I wanna learn from this.
How far do you take that, though? How far do you take that? Do you, like, fully fuck the guys? So you're like, all right, this guy's, like, in love with me now, and now I can get his wife? Like, how deep do we go?
It's not a real AMOG unless you bend him over and fuck him, yeah. That's Andrew,
in front of the woman, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I'll show you the ropes, don't worry.
The girl's like, "Oh my god, this is perfect. I have a gay friend you can meet." It's like, "Fuck, I can't let on my cover. I gotta go all the way with this."
Yeah.
All right, so let's kick it off with this question. So I think this is something that's going to be very applicable to pretty much everyone watching this. What do you guys think are like from your students, from your clients, the people you see? What do you think are the biggest mistakes being made in pickup right now?
Oh, I was going to say we should probably do this by category because like our job is basically just pointing out the countless mistakes that get made when people don't follow the content, which is no one follows the content basically.
No one follows the
content. They always have the mistakes.
You're right. I think we should start off with mental mindset.
Yeah, dude. I think one of the biggest things is at least now men are told that, you know, it's just this high value man concept. Like, dude, you have to be super rich. Girls are only attracted to wealth. You know, you have to be 47 years old and just work on yourself for 30 years to get a girl to like you. And it's like, I think that's not true. I think guys that have less money and more free time are going to get laid a lot more. It's that
myth of the alpha male. Hey, like you got to be this like James Bond character with absolutely every single category perfectly nailed, and then you're allowed to leave the house and go say hello to a woman. But before that, it's like, bro, you need to be spending like 55 years, like you said, working on money, working on body. All of those things are helpful for sure. But I think a lot of guys hold back and they just keep procrastinating. They keep saying like, when I have a perfect body, I'll go outside and talk to women. Okay, I've got that. Well, actually, I could have a little bit more muscle. Okay, I've done that. Now I could lose a bit of fat. Okay, I've done that. Now I need money. Okay, I've done that. Now I need to dress better. It's like, go and do those things while you're talking to women.
Yeah, there's no exception to talking to girls. There's just no, unless you become a celebrity, there's just no way you can get out of approaching and interacting with girls and getting rejected. I think it comes from like a desire to avoid rejection. It's like if I become a high value enough man, the girls will come to me and I can avoid getting rejected. But like the only way, literally, unless you're Leonardo DiCaprio, that's like not possible.
The old mentality was that people go toward pleasure and away from pain. But the new neurocognitive way of viewing this is just that we avoid discomfort. And there's nothing more uncomfortable than being rejected, especially if you're a younger man, you don't really know who you are yet. You know, it's like, it's a very painful thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good one. It's the myth of like this, there's a correlation between money and your success with women. And like, if you're going for gold diggers, there is, but aside from gold diggers, like, yeah, when I was poor, I was having way more sex, got way more free time. Typically, when you become like successful, you spend a lot of time on your business, so you don't have that much time to pick up girls. So I know for
there's
me,
this
like,
conversation between Alex Hormozy and the More Plates, More Dates guy who actually you were featured on.
yeah.
They're like, the more I focus on business, the more hermit-like I become, and I just become more and more autistic, and all I talk about is business strategy with my business friends. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I think that's true. At least it was for me. What do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, I think the one biggest mistake people make with mindsets is not actually knowing where they are on that spectrum. Because we kind of spoke about, okay, the guys that fucking are just focusing on business, ignore women, and then are just fucking lonely. All the guys that think, okay, looks don't matter, business doesn't matter, money doesn't matter, and they're just fucking trying to relentlessly go out and pick up when they live in their mom's basement. So I think just understanding where you are on that spectrum of things. And if I look at my students, they tend to be more on the side of just going out and not focusing on business. And if you look at the broader community, maybe with the narrative that's going on right now, it's everyone should be focusing on business. So I think just understanding where you are on that spectrum and then calibrating towards what you should be doing for the most sort of optimal outcome for your dating life, not only now, but in the future.
Yeah, I think people like tend to jump to extremes. It's either like, oh, fucking approaching's the only thing that matters, man, or it's like, oh, fuck approaching. It's all about being a high value man. Like people typically don't like do the common sense thing, which is like kind of be somewhere in the middle. They just like tend to go to extremes, which is unfortunate. I think another common mindset thing is like mental masturbation, where guys think that just by consuming content they're going to become better, where like they're just all they do is just like consume content, but they don't actually implement it, and then they can't really implement shit because they never tried it. I see this like all the time. Guys who know like more theory than me, but they can't like literally talk to a girl without having a panic attack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
a
need to
really good
embrace the
rule.
uncertainty.
Yeah, man. A really good rule on that I heard came from Good Looking Loser. Said for every 1 hour you're reading my content, be outside talking to women for 1 hour. 1-to-1.
He also
ratio.
said like to use your bathmate 30 minutes per day in the shower to
That's
make
true.
your dick
You
bigger.
use it when you're out there with women, like when you're approaching. You have it.
I have it on right now because
It's
it's like, dude, I might as well.
I have
you know.
6 on. You've only got 1.
I think the real ratio is more like 10-1. Like I think most guys will spend for 10 hours of consuming content. They'll talk to a girl for 1 hour.
I think
Yeah.
that's being generous, Alex. I think like
That's
a lot
probably
of people will sit there watching everything you've ever done. I did a podcast at one point saying, "Stop watching everything I've ever done." Like I don't want you to watch everything I've ever done. You shouldn't have enough time.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the first approach I ever did was I was listening to Paul Janka. He's like this day game guy from New York. And he's like, if you made it this far in the course and you haven't approached yet, like just fucking turn this off and literally go approach right now. I don't care if you're driving, literally pull your car over. Like this, you're not going to change your life just by listening to this. Go do it.
Yeah.
So that's actually how I did my first approach back in college.
Nice.
Yeah, I think like you have to realize that you can't literally learn game just by like reading it or watching videos. Like it has to be, you have to actually like you would be better off if you have 2 choices. One is just like watching videos all day, and the other one is like just approaching all day. You're better off approaching all day and not like even consuming any content. You can't just like mentally. This is why I have like issues with guys like Bro. You can't like mentally, logically understand game. Like you have to, it's something you have to do and you have to incorporate, and you have to emotionally understand it from experience.
It's so
Yeah, I think
interesting
all of
talking to
that is-
people that are those born naturals or the guys that literally just do it from just reps, because you talk about the concepts the same way, but they think about it differently. They talk it from a place of pure experience, which people actually like better. When you're talking about it from a story of like how you did it, it makes them feel like they can do it too, versus just like, here's what you got to do. Trust me.
Well, I think that's what like a lot of the older RSD teachings were based on. It was like the concept of like a natural. It's like, let's take a fucking natural and like fucking put him in a laboratory and backwards engineer him. What were you going to say,
I was
Marcus?
going to say, yeah, sorry, bro. I was going to say as well, like the issue becomes when people do this thing where they fucking jerk off to YouTube content for fucking 40 hours. is that they do mentally feel like an expert, right? So the problem is when you go out, like Austin, you were mentioning your first approach, right? You went out and you didn't feel, I'm sure, like an expert at all. Like you probably felt like you had no idea what you're doing. And when I did my first approach, I definitely fucking had no idea what I was doing. But the problem now is you might have guys that know fucking so much content, right? They're experts. And so you have this pressure now being an expert and doing your first approach. So the amount of like overthinking you're going to do on that approach is ridiculous, right? And you're going to have such a high standard what you think you should be getting out of this approach, which should be a rejection, right? Your first ever approach should be a horrible rejection. And if it's not, well done. But yeah, it's the other problem. It creates the overthinking if you watch too much content without action.
Yeah, I think there's also an issue of people just constantly improperly implementing content. Not all of them, but a good amount of people. Whenever I do streams where I do like Tinder breakdowns, I'll be like, yo, email me your Tinder and I'll break it down live on air. Like you would think that people who watch my videos like should be at least like be able to put together like an average profile. But at the very least, they're not going to make like glaring mistakes that I've talked about 20 million times. But like that's never the case. 95% of Tinder profiles I review are just downright atrocious. And the guys, they're not like LARPing. They legitimately have no idea why their profile is bad. Like they'll be like, yeah, man, I feel like I followed all your advice. But then like when I look at the profile, it feels like they followed none of my advice at all. So do you guys kind of see this issue with like some of your content as well?
Yeah, I think it's just because we all have so much content. I'm assuming you guys have a lot of content as well. It's just that there's like a lot there. You said it yourself, Alex. It's like people won't necessarily use the search feature. And that's not a criticism of them. It's just, I think we have so much fucking content. You know, as Markus said, you're almost overwhelmed by how much is there. I think the best thing you could ever do, and this is kind of my core philosophy, is give yourself permission to suck and just get started. Like, you're going to suck at the start. Almost 100% guaranteed. So just fucking start.
I also think that goes back to how people learn. They learn best. Most people would prefer asking someone directly for what they have to do in a situation versus finding the content themselves, right? Even though, like, let's say I have a whole 5-minute video, like, here's exactly how to improve your voice. Like, a lot of people are like, hey, man, how do I improve my voice? I don't know. They just, that's how, like, people tend to like to work. I don't even know what your question was, honestly. I was just thinking about this today. It's like people would rather, and this is another thing. What do they say? If you want the wrong answer, ask everyone. The human mind, we're very democratic. We like to ask like everyone for feedback, but you're going to get the wrong answer the majority of the time. So that's literally where I'm going with my coaching is I'm just going to build out something where I have the ability for people to just ask questions whenever they want, mentorship style, and then just 2 tiers, kind of like what you do, Alex, with your what Nitin does with the Playing with Fire mastermind.
Gotcha.
I think that's really good.
Yeah, I think people want to learn in different ways, right? Like you have, I have some guys that you mentioned we got a lot of content. I have some guys that have gone through all of it, which I'm like, dude, get a life, please. But like some guys go through all of it, and they will come to coaching, and it is the most optimized coaching session you'll ever have because they know all the shit, and you can be like, okay, instead of doing this, I want you to do this. What I spoke about in this video. Okay, sweet. But a lot of guys that we mentioned before, they've got businesses they're running. They're busy, right? They're busy, and it's just not an optimal use of your time if you're an older guy with money that's going to sit there and watch all your videos. So yeah, I agree with you, Austin. There, like sometimes it's easier to just have that one-on-one time and say, all right, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Where do I start? And just be, have your hand held through the process.
Yeah, the problem though is that like. For a lot of guys, it's not practical to learn directly from the source because they don't have like the financial means to do that.
Of course.
So like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, sure. If you're like a successful businessman, then like me personally, whenever I want to learn things, I legit will do coaching calls. Like I did a coaching call with Anthony Johnson a month ago about YouTube growth. Like I can figure it out on my own. I'm not a retard, but I just don't want to spend the time. Or like I'll do coaching calls all the time with people who I feel like I can learn from. But yeah. I can afford it. But I think a lot of people, for the people who can't, like they do have to get better about like fucking applying the content they see, which I see as like an issue for a lot of dudes. It's just like they really struggle applying the content.
Yeah, this question kind of relates to exactly that. What's each coach's number one belief or piece of knowledge that would have accelerated their progress the fastest? Whatever. Basically, how do you learn fastest? And literally it comes down to speed of implementation. There are people that pay us, all four of us, to learn something, and then they go, "Cool, yeah, I'll try that out in like a couple of weeks." I just, I'm watching a dog right now, so it's like, dude, people make stupid excuses, and if you just literally follow the advice you're given like a robot, you will get extreme. You will learn so much faster. Like, how long do you want the process of learning games to take? It could take, 6 months to a year, or it could take never, right? Some people just never get good at it no matter what they do because they just don't implement. There's people like they'll pop on a thing with me and Alex, and they'll be like, "Yo, critique my profile," and I'll be like, "Okay, what you need is like more photos, and you need the photos to look like this." And then you'll see their profile like a year later, it looks exactly the same. So,
the thing that's different is they're using a photo of my dog.
Yeah, and dude, there's people that literally get photo shoots. There's people that get photo shoots and they don't even post the photos. It's like, what are you waiting for? Oh, I don't know. It'll be weird if I just post a photo now. Like, they have this this is all like they think the entire world is paying attention to them. Do you realize like how hard it is to get famous? Dude, Alex grinded more than anyone in the dating niche on YouTube and posted more content than anyone. It took you what, like 3, 4, 5 years to hit 100K?
Yeah, I'm not getting laid from YouTube, by the way, just for the record. I'm still like far away from that point.
But my biggest piece of advice would be buy back speed of implementation and buy time. Like, if you have money, literally pay money to buy time. If you calculate your hourly rate, let's say $30 an hour for like an average job in the US, calculate that out. Were you going to spend 1,000 hours doing it on your own and spending $30,000 of your own earning potential? Or are you going to pay someone like Markus or Alex to help you to get better faster? And then, like, even if you spend, like, I don't know what your top tier program is, Markus, but if you're spending like $5K or something for a mentorship or an in-person thing, you're saving so much goddamn time that it would literally be retarded to not spend that money. That's like a concept that people don't get in general, but use money to buy time. Time is the only thing you can't get back. You can always get money back. And especially if you're smart, you're going to use the money to buy a shit more time so you get that progress in all areas of your life. Health, wealth, love, happiness, right? So that's my number one piece of advice.
Yeah, that was like a big shift for me. I think like 3 to 5 years ago, I used to like try to do everything myself. Like, I would never hire anyone. I'd be like, oh, I can probably do that. And I would spend like hours and hours doing some stupid, meaningless errand that I could do myself. Like everything, cooking, going to the store, cleaning, like fucking, like pretty much everything. I would be like, oh, I can do this myself. Oh, marketing, I can figure it out myself. Oh, tech support, I can figure it out myself. Oh, whatever, email campaign, I can figure it out myself. And then I don't really know I don't remember what exactly made me shift, but I do know that at some point I realized that I did the math and I was like, you know what? I charge $300 an hour. So if this costs me less than $300 for 1 hour, it makes sense for me to hire this person. And 99% of the time, it was less than $300. So I was like, okay, well, let me fucking hire this meal prep. Let me hire this cleaning lady. Let me hire this marketing guy. And then I could focus. I felt like that made me happier because I didn't have to focus on things I'm not good at. So it was good for my mental health. And also, it made me way more efficient in the business because I could focus on the things I'm good at, which is like making content, running the business, and like general marketing strategy. So yeah, I think that's like a big mindset shift that anyone could have right now, instead of like waiting, I don't know, for a lot of trial and error. But I feel like that's something that you kind of have to naturally come to. At least it was for me, because I used to be so cheap with shit. What is another piece of I agree with everything you said, Austen. I think, let me think of another one that I would add to that. I think realizing that no one gives a shit about you. No one cares whether you win, lose, whether you succeed or you fail. Realizing the world doesn't care about you at all. Like, if you never get good with girls, no one gives a shit. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to help you. It's all completely on your own. It's like, it's either going to happen or not, but no one cares. No one gives a shit. No one's coming to save you. Kind of like getting rid of the hero conflicts or whatever. I think another one is, well, I'll let you guys go while I think of the third one.
Yeah, I can jump in here.
You go first, Markus. I feel like, dude, we've all interrupted you like 6 times today, bro. So you go first.
Okay, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. So
Yeah, so let me continue with that. Oh.
You fucking
Shut the fuck
cunt.
up, Austin. All right, so I think, yeah, me specifically, it'd be my sticking point when I started, which was like being way too nice and blah blah blah. But I think if I was going to give advice to a student starting out, from my experience, what I've learned, what is the number one thing that's going to help you? For me, I agree with Austin. It's obviously being able to implement everything, but in terms of feedback, it is incredibly important. And this goes back to the ratio, right? We're talking about for every hour you're learning something, you should be implementing it. I feel for every 2 hours you're implementing, you should be spending an hour reflecting. And I think that is the biggest thing, because I fucking know guys when I started game. So this is fucking 7 years ago or some shit, that they're still gaming now and have improved a little bit, right? And the reason is they're doing the same thing over and over again with zero reflection, zero feedback, zero adaptation, and they're exactly the fucking same. And so as a student, if you can get feedback as much as possible, so this goes back to like dropping the ego, being willing to fail, being, willing to fuck up, is, ask girls for feedback. One of the hardest things is after you fuck a girl and you're on that euphoric high and you're thinking, fuck, this is amazing, everything I'll implement worked, is to look at her in the eyes and be like, what could I fucking do better? Right? And it could be harsh. Like, it's harsh getting negative feedback. And it's harsh hearing the girl being like, look, you could have fucked me a little bit harder. Right? You went down on me. That was horrible. She could, or in the club, like, you get rejected. Go back, ask the girl. Maybe she says like, yo, you were super creepy. You didn't even look at me in the eye when you spoke to me. So getting the right feedback, and obviously going back to what Austen said, if you can get feedback off, a coach that knows what the fuck he's doing, then, I mean, that's just going to accelerate things tenfold. But if you're not having a coach right there next to you, then ask the girls, right? Just get the feedback off them and drop the ego and be willing to learn.
I wrote down 4 more things that I thought of as you were talking. Okay, the first one is stop wasting time on stupid shit. I used to do this all the time. I still do to a small extent, but a lot of people say they have no time for like cold approach or no time for go to the gym. But then when you actually look at their schedule, they spend 80% of their time on stupid shit. If you're watching a whole bunch of TV shows or movies, you're spending your time on stupid shit. If you're arguing with people in the comments, you're wasting your time on stupid shit. If you're on TikTok, I literally don't even consume content on TikTok. I just use it to post my content. But if you're a TikTok consumer, you're wasting your time on stupid shit. There's so many people who waste like significant part of their day on like just shit that is like completely unnecessary to their life. So just like stop doing that and be more like focusing your time consciously on more productive things can be a game changer. You can still like relax and like watch movies here and there, but it should be conscious instead of like a subconscious, like, oh, 5 p.m. let me turn on the TV type of shit. So I think that's one. Another one is Sorry.
I was going to say, most people don't even put stuff in their calendar. And if you don't put stuff in your calendar, it's going to be filled up by other people's agendas. Mm-hmm. And you realize that everything has an agenda. All these companies have their own agenda, which is to keep your eyeballs glued to the screen to make advertiser money. So, yeah. Also, another thing with TikTok, it's just literally brain damaging you. So,
yeah. I have every day. I have a list of things. I usually plan 2 or 3 days out. So for tomorrow, I have a list of things I'm trying to get done. The following day, like I have every single day, I have like planned out. I still give myself like maybe a few hours of just like whatever time, but like I have a list of things that I want to get done that day. If I don't get those things done, or at least most of them, I feel like I failed that day. And it's like a negative feeling that I don't want to experience. I'm motivated to like get all the shit done.
Oh, one other thing, put app limit timers. So have your best friend or your roommate or whatever put an app timer on all the apps that you don't want to use that much. Like I have a 10-minute timer on TikTok, which gives me enough time to like post like 2 things on TikTok. And then the rest of the time I can't use it, which is great. And I'm not even tempted to anymore.
Stick your phone on grayscale. That's a fucking game changer. That's a life-changing hack right there. Stick your phone on grayscale. You can just do that in Android or iPhone. Absolutely.
What's the benefit for that?
You don't want to use your phone as much. Think about how fucking boring YouTube is if it's in black and white. If everything on your phone is in black and white, you don't. Yeah, red. There you go. Make it red. 50 Shades of fucking gray right there.
Yeah. All right. So some of the other ones I wrote down is playing to win instead of playing not to lose. I think most of the guys in the game are playing not to lose. It's like, how do I avoid rejection? How do I avoid having this girl lose interest in me? How do I avoid turning this girl off? Right. But that's the wrong mindset. When I started playing more like playing to win, it's like, okay, I don't give a shit about getting rejected. I don't give a shit about turning this girl off. How do I get what I want, which is whatever, hooking up with a hot girl, getting into a relationship, whatever. I think like that mindset shit can make a huge difference. And I think I don't know. I would say the vast majority of people in this community are playing not to lose. It's
On that, on that, there's a philosophy that I have that I give to everyone, which is every problem has a solution. So when you're sitting there saying like, oh, I don't want to get rejected, what's the fucking solution? Go and talk to more women, get more confident, get better at this, improve yourself, blah, blah, blah. If you can stop looking at the actual thing you're trying to avoid and start looking at the victory or the win condition and go for that, and that's all you fucking focus on, yeah, we already kind of know this, but if you're obsessed with losing or like, I don't want to get rejected, I don't want to get rejected, I don't want to get rejected, that's all you can fucking see. And that's what you will bring into your world. You fucking manifest that because you're obsessed with losing. You're obsessed with like failing. You will fucking manifest that.
Yo, Alex, can we at some point play like a CNN clip? It's a clip of like why men's virginity and men not having sex is on the rise. It's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah,
like
pull it up.
demographic
Is it long or is it pretty quick?
It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah, pull it up. Let me just go through these other two things. Okay, so the next thing is kill any element of a victim mindset. Kind of goes to what you were saying, Andy. For a very big period of my life, I had like a victim mindset, and I think it's kind of a natural thing that a lot of people develop. Is like, oh, poor me. It's because I'm this ethnicity, or it's because I'm this height, or it's because I'm this level of autism. But I think the majority of people have some element of victim mindset, and if you kill that completely, that's going to be a game changer. Like instead of looking at things like, oh, poor me, it's like, okay, well, here are the things I have going for me. How can I use that to compensate for this, this issue that I have? But most people, just do have a victim mindset. And I think the last one is progressively going outside your comfort zone. So you like start doing cold approach, and maybe you get like good at like date game, right? And getting girls' phone numbers, right? But then the idea of like going on an Insta date or a pull makes you uncomfortable because you haven't done it yet, right? And you kind of stay within your comfort zone. Or like maybe you're used to going out to one bar and you don't want to go anywhere else because that's your comfort zone. But if you can continuously challenge yourself to push your comfort zone and do things that make you uncomfortable in that moment, but are logically good for your like whatever game or your pickup, that's going to take you further. Just if it's something that feels like very uncomfortable, you probably should do it. Like I remember when I was on dates, I used to have issues escalating because I'd be like, oh, like I don't want to turn this girl off. What if she thinks I'm creepy? But when I developed the mindset of like, okay, if my gut instinct tells me not to do it, that I shouldn't do it. If I'm trying to avoid it, I'll just do it anyway. And then you kind of start seeing a whole new level of success with that.
There's another one that I feel like we didn't touch on at all, which the question was basically, how can I make the most progress the quickest? Go all in. Like make this your absolute number one priority. Decide that you will reorient your entire life around this goal. Commit to it 100%. Say, this is the thing I care about above all else. I'm going to do whatever the fuck it takes. I'm going to go all in, baby. I'll do literally everything. I will work part-time if I need to. I will get a bunch of wingmen and spend 10 hours on the weekend. Like, whatever I have to fucking do. I missed whatever that comment was on the screen. Something about Markus being sexy.
Yeah, Markus has a hardcore fan in my community. It's a girl. Okay, I'll shut up a little bit more. Do you have the clip? We can play that and then we can move on.
Oh yeah, how do I do it? Do you want me to just send it to you?
Yeah, you can post in the private chat, or you can just literally open it up and hit share screen, and then it'll show me your screen. Okay, I see it. Here, I'll open it up. Hi UMP. Oh, wait, actually, I can't. Can you just open it up on your end and then hit share screen?
Yeah. So okay, it's on my internet browser. Now what do I do?
Just hit share screen, present at the bottom.
Present. Okay. Share screen. Okay. Select StreamYard. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this should show up. Okay. There
Okay. And then boom.
Yeah. Just open up. You're good. Turn up the volume, please. Or it's not even playing it. Never mind. Okay, we can't really see it here, Markus. Here, just text it to me privately, and I'll open it up on my end.
All right. Stop screen. Whoop. Yeah, basically he just goes into like some of the things that are causing the sexlessness of men, basically. So CNN share. It's this professor from NYU. Messages. You gotta start using Telegram. These iMessage is so ghetto. Telegram you can send on computer and phone, and it links automatically multiple devices.
I'm on there.
Oh, okay, nice.
You can Telegram me.
Yeah.
While you do that, let's go through some more of these questions. Are any of you in a relationship? I am. What about you guys?
Yes.
I'm married.
5 years.
Married to the game. No, actually,
bro, I love it. Best answer.
Yeah, I've got a couple of like open dynamics going on.
Yes, I've been with my girlfriend for 5 years. We sleep with girls together, have threesomes.
Nice, mate. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Cheers,
Down there in Brisbane. Wait. Actually, where are you based?
Close enough, Gold Coast. It's about an hour.
Oh no.
You can't say Brisbane either. You got to say Brisbane.
No. Brisbane.
Game of Thrones and House of Dragons.
Dude, my assistant has a really good Australian accent. Come show me your Australian accent. He's been
Everyone that
practicing.
says this, it's always
G'day, how you doing?
Hey, that's pretty good.
Not bad. That's good, bro.
Yeah. Tell him about
Keep going.
Tell him about your date.
Date went pretty well. Got ice cream, pulled, played table tennis.
This guy's Australian, right?
Yeah.
Dude, how good is that accent? Like he can
good.
do like an Italian one really good. He sounds like Mario. It's great. Yeah.
I would have preferred Mario. I'd like to see him set up multiple Tinder profiles based on different accents, and then go like Mario.
And then he gets it wrong on the date.
Yeah.
Dude, in the States, having an Australian accent it's basically like being a light skinned black dude. You get like the same boost.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna pull it up. What's the highest success rate possible when you're at the top? How many times out of 10 when you try to get a girl do you succeed? What would you say?
What's the top? Like fucking Elon Musk just throwing $1 million at each chick? Probably 100%.
These math questions are always come off as weird to me.
I just never answer them. I'm like, why don't you go outside and tell me?
Because there's so many factors. Like, dude, there's sometimes I've gone out. I actually went out with Tommy and our other roommate. Literally walking to the venue, we open these 3 girls pool, and like the next night we go out the second, group we talk to. We just stand for an hour and pool. It's like it all depends on, and then also like for closing, like is the girl on her period? If she's not on her period, if you like persist past the period objection, say the only thing period stops is a sentence. Is she down with it? So
yeah, it's so fucking random, man. The game is so fucking
random. But I would say for me, it's like when I think about okay, if I approach 10 girls, I'll get probably like 4 phone numbers or something like that, like slightly less than half. So if I get 4 phone numbers, we'll maybe set up 1 or 2 dates. If I set up 1 or 2 dates, I'll bang like one of the chicks. So somewhere around 10%, I would say for me.
I also feel like it's obsessing about the wrong thing. This isn't a stats game; it's a numbers game. If you want to get laid, go out and talk to 100 women. If that doesn't work, talk to 500. If that will work. But but
then you have to always improve the strategy over time as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
But you're going to be doing that anyway.
I think it is a little bit like I think it's both, right? If you're going out approaching 1 girl a week and saying I'm not getting laid, then fuck you. But it's I agree with Austen, right? Like it's unoptimal if you're doing 1,000 approaches to 1 lane. But
sure, but that's a very apex fallacy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, but just going off what everyone said, I think it depends, right? Like when I went to fucking Mexico, me and Alex, my business partner, pulled first set every single night for like a week, right? It was just fucking easy. You go to somewhere like Sydney, especially pre-COVID, where girls are a little bit bitchy, it's a little bit more difficult, right? But I think, when I go out, it depends. Like I like to do a lot of approaches first and then pick the hottest girl, the girl that I get along with the most.
Yes.
And whereas Alex, my business partner, would just hang back most of the night and then pick a girl and go for it. So it's going to depend, but I'd say definitely where we're at, you'd be hoping that pretty much every night you're going out looking to pull, you're going to be pulling. And so
that's a much better way of thinking about it because, like he said, you're selecting from the whole nightclub. You're not. Why would you make a decision to go home just based on a ratio or a stat sheet when you have so many more girls to talk to? Like, let's say there's a girl who's hotter, has better logistics, and doesn't have a boyfriend. You don't have to overcome any of those objections. It's a better bet. It's a better educated decision to make.
And the first question I would ask, if one of my coaching clients asked me this question, I would say, what are you actually asking? Like, why are you asking this? Like, go inside yourself, have a think about why you've asked this question. Is it because you're trying to avoid rejection? Are you trying to get to some magical number? And I did.
It sounds like you're putting him in
really
timeout. Go have a think about this in the corner and think
No,
about
but like,
what
I feel like that's important, because it's like, why are you fucking asking this question? Are you trying to avoid the work? Are you just saying, can you get me to some magical number where I can just meet 1 in 2 women and I'll take them home and have sex with them? It's like, why do you want that? Like, you're not at that point. You can't avoid the work by just trying to think your way around the problem.
One other thing before we go into this video, we've talked a lot in like the beginning about like just grinding, hustling, getting it done, whatever, which I definitely agree, especially with this newer generation. I feel like they're all kind of soft and more pussies, but they should have that. But at the same time, games should be fun. You should find the joy in the process.
Course.
Like you should
Of
be
course.
you should love
Wait, are you saying
conversing
that
with girls and
talking
getting
with girls is supposed to be
good.
fun?
It should.
Are you saying that we're allowed to be happy while we do this?
You know what? I'll allow it just for this one week only, and then we'll go back to grind mode.
Going back to the question though, I do think that it can come from a bad place, or it can also come from a good place. Like when I do coaching calls, and like the guy's like, "Yeah, man, I'm not getting late. All right, let's talk about it. So, how many matches are you getting? I'm getting like 10 matches a day. Okay, cool. How many of those are turning into phone numbers? 2 or 3. Okay, cool. How many of those are dates? So you do have to like sometimes figure out as a coach like where the kink in the chain is.
Where the sticking point is, yeah.
Like sometimes the guys are getting a lot of matches, but they're like just not turning any of those into dates. Or sometimes they're actually getting a lot of dates, but they're not closing any of the dates, right? So I think that question can come from like different directions.
Yep. All right, let's listen to this man.
Last week, I delved here into recent data from the CDC suggesting major problems with regard to the mental health of our adolescents, surges in depression and suicidal ideation, especially true for our girls. This week, I found cause to worry about young men. This headline from The Hill, it caught my eye. Most young men are single. Most young women are not. The story reported that as of 2022, Pew Research Center found 30% of U.S. adults are neither married, living with a partner, nor engaged in a committed relationship. Nearly half of all young adults are single. Now, look at these numbers. 34% of women, twice as many, a whopping 63% of men. What explains that? I pulled the Pew study and I read with interest. Turns out since 2019, the share of single men who say they're looking for dates or a relationship has declined from 61% to 50%. In 2018, 28%
Good job, Black Bill.
of men ages 18 to 30 reported they'd had no sex in the past year, compared with 18% of women of that age. The Hill report said men in their 20s are more likely than women in their 20s to be romantically uninvolved, sexually dormant, friendless, and lonely. They stand at the vanguard of an epidemic of declining marriage, sexuality, and relationships that afflicts all of young America. Among the causes, among the factors, a reliance on social media and online porn. But also, more young women are hooking up with each other or dating and marrying slightly older men, and heterosexual women are getting more choosy. Other troubling statistics about men come from
That is true so far.
a 2021 study from the Survey Center for American Life. They found the share of men who have 6 or more close friends, which in 1990 was 50.
Damn. That I did not know. It was 55%. Now it's 27%. So people have half the amount of friends now they did 30 years ago. That's fucking nuts right there. I think, I don't know what you guys think about this, but I think it's probably even worse as a guy to have no friends than it is to be bad with girls. And I have so many clients where I'm just like, yeah, man, just get one of your friends to take a photo of you. And there's an awkward 30-second silence. And they're like, I don't really have any friends who can do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, just ask one of your friends. I don't have any friends. So, yeah, that's
yeah, right. Like one of the first questions I ask my clients is like, yeah, hey, like, do you have any friends? And by the way, if you don't, tell me right now, we'll fix it. Because I just like the default assumption is that the answer is going to be yes. For half of them, it is.
So one of the reasons behind this that I don't know if he goes into in this video, it's like the lack of third spaces. I don't know. I forget the term, but basically you have like your home, which is your primary space, and you have secondary spaces, which is like your school or work. And then there's no real third spaces like where people used to hang out, like arcades or like, you know, like the town square of your village or something, you know. People are meeting more and more like we are right now online, and they're not really in person where those deep bonds can kind of come together. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more like superficial friends, I'd say, right? Like people have got like 1,000 friends on Facebook, or there's guys that they might chat to online every now and again, which is like this superficial feeling of connection or friendship. But yeah, it refers to close friends, right? And I agree with that. There's a lot less people meeting up face to face for sure.
Yeah, that's
Does
a
the
shame.
year fuck this up though? This is like right in the middle of COVID. I wish they'd done something like now.
I would venture to say it's probably similar. Like, I don't think it's. I've kind of been seeing this issue anecdotally from just like coaching calls, where like,
Yeah, I have too.
but it seems about right, honestly. Like, I'm going off anecdotal stuff.
55% by 2021 had shrunk by half. Meanwhile, those with literally zero close friends, which stood at 3% in 1990, has zoomed to 15%. An expert quoted by The Hill.
That the real number is actually higher. Just a lot of guys like don't.
I was going to say that's the only ones that admit it. Yeah. Same with the sex numbers. Like how many guys say they haven't had sex in the last year? I feel like a lot of dudes are just saying like, "No, I have." Yeah.
Yeah,
I fucked your mom.
Said this disconnect can have catastrophic consequences for young men. Quote, in the worst case scenario, the young American man's social disconnect can have tragic consequences. Young men commit suicide at 4 times the rate of young women. Younger women are largely responsible for rising rates of mass shootings, a trend that some researchers link to their growing social isolation. Well, those words reminded me of a conversation that I had over a year ago right here on CNN with NYU professor Scott Galloway.
But the issue is when you have a group of men, the lower half.
They look almost exactly the same. It's like the same person. It's like his brother.
Yeah, they're like my gay parents.
He just brought on his brother. Made it seem like a close
of attractiveness of men and online dating, which has doubled. Now it's about half of relationships. And the top 20% of men in terms of attractiveness get about 60% of the interest. You end up with a group of men that are more prone to conspiracy theory, more prone to misogynistic content, more prone to not believe in climate change.
That is true.
So this is the American story. If it's written with a pen whose ink is failing young men, does not end well. This is an existential crisis, failing young men.
I love how they have to slip in climate change. Like climate change is the reason for. They're talking about friendship and like girls, and they're like, yeah, but also climate change.
I think the point was just like conspiracy theories. Is there any specific point you want to listen to? Because this is like 10 minutes long, or this was basically it.
I think it's good. This is like good content.
All right, let's go through like a few more minutes.
Galloway was prescient. Back with me now is Scott Galloway. He's a professor of marketing at NYU Stern School of Business. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's the host.
Is that the same dude as before?
Host of the Professor G podcast and author of multiple best-selling books, most recently, Adrift, America in 100 Charts.
Yeah, do 1.5
Thanks
speed.
for returning. Hasn't the advantage always been to those with the looks and or the money? What's changed?
First, I just want to say thank you for raising this issue a year ago when a lot of media companies were afraid to talk about this for fear of it being pro-men with somehow being anti-women. Look, this is returning to the natural order of things. For the majority of history, a small percentage of men have had the majority of mating opportunities. But in America, we decided to make a huge investment in what would probably be the greatest innovation in history, and that is in the middle class. From 1945 to 1947, 7 million men returned from war were discharged from the service, and we decided to give them the GI Bill, subsidized mortgages. We saw education rates go from 5 to 45%. They were valued, and we had such a strong manufacturing base that you had massive marriage and household formation. And some men were seen as more economically and emotionally viable. And you've seen the reverse happen with the offshoring of much of our manufacturing base, with a society that quite frankly doesn't value young men. When we talk about problems with people of color or women, we see it as a systemic societal problem. When we see problems or the stats that you just mentioned, we see it as accountability, or the men just need to level up. But married households and household formation are better citizens. They vote, they save at twice the rate, they're less likely to commit crimes, and we have fewer and fewer viable men. We have a dearth of economically and emotionally viable men. But the middle class is an accident. Unless you invest in it, it doesn't happen. Eisenhower decided to invest $500 billion in national highway.
This is good, I guess.
Yeah,
I feel like that's enough. But it's just kind of, isn't that interesting? And like one thing that he goes into too is like women are getting educated more than men are, and women always want their superior, right? Women, when they get super educated, it's not like, oh, we're just more educated than the guys, so let's just, talk to guys that have less education. No, they always want a guy with, equal or more, right? So it's like, that's especially prevalent in Manhattan, where like the average woman is super educated, and they're looking for these like super high earning educated men that, it's.
I don't know how convinced I am of that, because when I was
so
I dated women who were way more financially successful than me. My first girlfriend was a Boeing engineer. I was like literally unemployed at the time.
Yeah,
My
but
second-
the exception, you might be the exception that proves the rule.
No, but
I don't have an
think
opinion
That's
either way,
that's
but-
one example of many. Like women
That's
want a
what I'm
guy to be
saying.
taller than them. They want the guy to make more money. They want to be more educated. They want a guy to
taller, yes, I will agree with the taller part. I'm not as convinced
So,
about the
but one of the things he actually says in that thing is it's almost as if women's rank in society has just been going up and men's has been going down. So it's almost this effect. They call it the high heels effect. Actually, it's like women are almost getting taller and men are getting shorter. Not from a height perspective, but from a societal perspective, right?
But I had this like female coaching client, one of my very few ones, and she made like 300,000 a year. But anyway, so I was like talking to her. She's like, yeah. She's like, honestly, I just want like a cool guy. She's like, I don't care if he makes less money than me, but she's like, what I've noticed is that every single time the topic of my job comes up and he finds out what I do, they get really weird and insecure about it. But she's like, I really don't care if the guy makes like 100,000 a year, but they all get like really weird about it. So I wonder how much of that comes from like a place of insecurity.
100%. Yeah, I want to jump on that as well and say I agree with you in terms of they want someone that they perceive as, let's say, higher than them. But I don't think it's always on the metric of finances.
Yeah.
I think you're right. If you have a guy that's just a fucking truck driver or whatever, and he's earning not as much as this fucking CEO lady, like if we pick some extremes, then I think it's okay as long as he's very dominant, he's very assertive, and he's not insecure by her money. So I think I agree. Women may be moving up financially, but as long as you still come across as the man and someone they can look to lead, I think that's what's important. And so, yeah, I agree. Maybe finances is making that an issue with men being more insecure and unable to actually feel like, okay, through my view, I have more finances, so that makes me the leader. Maybe it's making them insecure. But yeah, I think as long as you can earn whatever you want, as long as you're the fucking man in that relationship, you're good to go.
Yeah, word that
Yeah, and
makes
if
sense
you
to me
guys
is
if you guys
respect.
doubt that, go talk to like really hot girls that actually do have boyfriends or fiancés or husbands and ask them what their significant other does. And like half the time it's just like, especially down in Miami or here in where I live in Florida. Basically, dude, I found these fucking dimes that work at the bank, and I'm like, what does your boyfriend do? And like the Latina banker associate's like, he's an electrician. It's like
Yeah.
she's dating an electrician. It's not like she's dating the hedge fund manager. So
Here's another question. What are your guys' opinion on men who are in pursuit of their dream versus learning game? Is one better than the other, or is finding good balance between okay game, not advanced, and then focusing on goals? My theory is that your game only needs to be good enough to get to the level of results that you want. So not everyone is trying to be, most people aren't trying to be pickup coaches. Most people aren't trying to like fucking have like a 20 girl rotation. Most guys, typically from what I've seen, just want to have a few fuck buddies and maybe get a girlfriend. That's what I've seen. So your level of game doesn't have to be like super advanced for that. So you should get to a level of game that is good enough to meet your goals. But going past that is totally optional, which you don't have to do. And I don't see why people would do that unless they're trying to like work in this field.
yeah, and then there's other comments that kind of related to this. It's like, dude, learn game, but also do the 80-20 and other things. Don't be obese, have pretty good testosterone, take care of your fashion, live in a pretty good spot so you don't have to pull like 50 minutes away. Like just get the 80-20 down and then have pretty good game. And yeah, dude, it's crazy. Like sometimes I teach I'll teach students as if they want to become like masters, but in reality, most guys, like you said, they're okay with like pretty average chicks. Like they don't, as long as the girl's pretty cute and they like hanging out with her, it's good enough. Like not everyone needs to be fucking Julian Blanc from 2013, like, you know, making girls
Some
jealous.
people can
and
be
then
Julian Blanc from 2023, you know? It's okay.
you could dress like a homeless person. There you go.
I don't mind his fashion. I think Brown's asking the wrong question, to be fair. I think you need to think, similar to what Alex said, you need to think about what your dream is and what your life wants to look like in X amount of years, and then path your way to success. So if that is, I want to be fucking 10 different girls at the one time, I want to have open relationships, I want to have the hottest girls, then your life to get up to that point is probably going to involve a mix of learning really advanced game, getting your status sorted, getting your finances sorted. But if it's okay, I just want to have a girlfriend that is okay looking and I get along with, but hey, I want a really fucking amazing job and I want to be killing it in business, then yeah, you're gonna have to learn a little bit of game and then focus on your business. So I think I wouldn't look at them as like dream versus learning game. I'd look at it as what is my dream and how do I get there?
Yeah, my answer was going to be
what's the
similar. You haven't
goal? And then
told
you
us
can
what you want.
backwards engineer.
Yeah, you got to tell us what you want, and we can get you that. That's the job of a coach. That's the job of a content creator. You tell us what you want, we get you there. You're basically saying, like, should I pick what I want or learning game? It's like, pick what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I just noticed this, like, the majority of clients I coach, their goals are pretty, like, modest. Like, they don't want, like, crazy shit. They just want, like, 2 or 3 fuck buddies that are, like, decently looking. That's, like, the common pattern I see. For each coach, what's your most unpopular opinion relating to PA that most other coaches, PAs disagree with, but you believe? Oh, it's interesting. Let's start
Doesn't
with
fucking matter what you say.
Huh?
Doesn't fucking matter what you say. That's my unpopular opinion. Look,
Oh,
Yeah, dude, I talk about dissecting bodies and stuff in my interactions, and they always go great. That was
You're ridiculously attractive. That will go great. Yeah.
I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, though. I think a lot of people agree that body language is way more important than, like, the actual words that come out of your mouth.
Well, yeah,
I wouldn't say
but
it
the
doesn't
verbal
matter what you say, though.
the verbal component does matter. It's just that body language, vocal tonality, those are more hardwired in the brain. If you pull up a chart of a brain, the brain stem is literally what vocal tonality, body language, touch, confidence, all those type of things that we talk about, that goes straight to that part of the girl's brain, and she can feel that. And women are making more intuitive judgments. So, like, versus here, the easiest example: hey, you're super cute, and I thought you were great. Versus, like, yo, what's your favorite fruit? Do you like are you more like a raspberry girl or like blueberries? Like, what do you?
Perfect
So
example, yeah.
just she can feel something with the second one. The first one, I'm using a statement of intent, but the vibe's off. So
Markus, you
Yeah,
got
I mean, I agree there. I feel I never like extremes, right? I never like extremes when it comes to coaching. So I get your point. You're trying to make a point that most guys in game, the opener is you're cute, I want to say hi, but they say it like they've said it 1,000 fucking times. There's no impact, there's nothing there, and it's always shit every single fucking time. But my answer to that is not, I never tell a student it doesn't matter what you say. I'm like, if you said this with better tonality, better body language, it's going to hit so much better. Because I'm a big believer in having the right thing to say, especially when it comes down to sexualizing, which in my opinion, I mean, I don't know what a lot of other opinions are, so it's hard to know what's unpopular, but my opinion is a lot of students, what they're fucking up with is not actually sexualizing in these interactions. And it's one of the best ways to show value. It's one of the best ways to just display your dominance, to display what women actually fucking find attractive with very little effort, right? You don't have to become a world famous DJ, right? That's a little bit more difficult to do than learning how to sexualize. So I think a lot of guys do that. You pull under the right fucking dynamic. I don't want any of my students pulling a fucking girl home, being like, oh, let's just go for an adventure or just come for 2 seconds. Because if they pull like that on program, I kick the girls out of the house. There's like no fucking after parties, right? It's like you're pulling under the right frame and you're pulling to close. And so I'm a big believer in that. I don't know if it's unpopular or not, but yeah, that's my thoughts on the topic.
I would say, I don't know if this is unpopular either, but I would say that higher volume and hardcore screening solves a lot of issues, solves most issues that guys have. Just like for a lot, like I'll hear, yeah, man, I get laid like once a month, but I like to, get like 2 or 3 lays a week. How many matches are you getting on Tinder? I'm getting like 1 match a week, right? Like, well, we don't really need to fundamentally change anything about what you're doing. We just need to increase your volume, and that like will solve a lot of your issues. Or like, yeah, man, I get really needy when I text, well, if you were talking to 20 girls, you probably would be less needy. And then hardcore screening solves a lot of like the in-person issues. Like, yeah, man, every time I have a girl over, she like wants a relationship and I want sex and I don't close. Okay, but if you screen her more aggressively beforehand, you'll be on the same page. So I think my opinion is these 2 things can solve a lot of the issues that guys face in this community.
Yeah, I don't know what my unpopular opinion is, but I do place more emphasis on health than other people. So, because I honestly think like your health impacts your general vibe and how you feel around girls is massively important. Maybe that's something that I misweight more than other people, or I weight higher, is that, yeah, you should your vibe is largely dependent upon not having neuroinflammation from eating seed oils and grains and processed sugars. So
It's also gonna
Yeah.
make you.
I agree with
keep
I,
going
I
if
agree
you
with every
feel
single
good.
one of those things you said. Sorry, go ahead.
If you feel good, like you're saying, it's gonna make you want to keep going out there. Versus if you had 5 hours of sleep and you're like, fuck this, I really don't feel. The number of times one of my coaching clients has said, I don't really feel like going out today, so I didn't. And then I'll say, okay, what happened? And we'll kind of go through it. And it's like, well, you slept 3 hours. Of course you don't feel like going out and talking to women. So, yeah, man, I think health is a big one.
Yeah. All right. Here's this question: what is the difference between just seeing a girl casually versus having the boyfriend girlfriend title? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I can start on this one if you like.
Sure.
For me, I don't like titles. No, for me, it's I view it as a filter, right? So I'll give you a little description of what this looks like. I go out and I meet a girl in the club, and I don't screen. I don't think like, okay, is this the type of girl that I want to set up a relationship with, or is this the type of girl I want to be a fuck? You don't know enough. So I just think, is this the type of girl that I want to put my penis in at the end of the night, for lack of a better word, right? Is this a girl I want to have amazing sex with at the end of the night? Yes or no? If it's yes, I pull like close. Then I go to the next stage. Is this the type of girl that I want to see again? Yes or no? I go to the next stage. Then I think, do I want something casual with her? Next stage. And this stops you from being needy. So at this point, I see this as just casual, right? I'm seeing her once a week, messaging every now and again. You're not setting any particular frames that are hard to come back from. Because I might, by the way, guys, on that second meet, think this girl's fucking amazing. But I don't want to set any boyfriend, girlfriend frames then, because I might change my mind when I find out more about her, and vice versa. And if you do it this way, she'll actually chase. If you start setting boyfriend frames from like date 2, you're fucked. Like she's going to push away a little bit. So that's what casual looks like. I'm seeing her once a week. It's, chill. Then when that advances a bit further over the next few months, I might make it more serious casual. She'll meet some of my friends. We'll go on dates. It's not just about sex. It's a little bit more intimate. Then I think this is often what I tell my students at the 6-month point. That's when you start to know enough about this girl from what I believe. And this is where you can start thinking. And by the way, ideally the girl is the one that's pushing for it. Like, what are we? Can we be in a relationship?
Yeah.
And that's what you want. Then this is where you can concede and say, okay, we're exclusive or not. And that's when I think it's like boyfriend, girlfriend, but it's like exclusive or not. Now, again, for someone like me, I don't like exclusivity. So this is where I'd say, okay, we're having a serious open relationship. This is where we're going to start having some guidelines, like, who can you fuck? Who can I fuck? What do we want this to look like? But I think the biggest mistake guys make is after the first date, they're like, this is the one. This is going to be my girlfriend. And look, it might work for some guys every now and again, but it's not going to be under the right dynamic, because you can be her fucking boyfriend. You can be girlfriend, but you've chased for that and she fucking knows it. You want to set it up under your dynamics, under your frame, and then it's going to be a much healthier and happier relationship for you. So I'm very passionate about this subject because I think a lot of guys fuck this up, even very advanced guys. So that's my 2 cents.
I agree with everything you said. Yeah, you can always go like deeper into the relationship, but you can't go like back. So you can always move things forward, but you can't go another direction. So you lose nothing by taking your time. But if you move things too fast, you can't go back from like girlfriend to fuck buddies, or typically you can't, with rare exceptions. Also, I mean, personally, I don't really. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I don't think much about titles. I never like sit there like, oh, do I want to make this girl my girlfriend or not? Typically, actually, every single girlfriend I've ever had, we were basically girlfriend and boyfriend in practice before we just the only reason I call her my girlfriend is for the sake of convenience, because that's what we basically naturally became. So every single one of my relationship has developed like naturally, and we were like doing like all the boyfriend girlfriend stuff before I was like, let me just fucking call you my girlfriend because this is easier, because it's like this complex. So I'm never sitting there like, should I make this girl my girlfriend? I've never had that thought.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add, like Marcus knocked it out of the park with that. It was really good. The only thing I would add is you're asking us what the difference is, but you should ask yourself, like, what are the things that I want out of the girl that, is my girlfriend? And then you have that conversation with her about like, here's like what I want my girlfriend to act like, behave like. And a lot of the time it's just sexual exclusivity on the girl's side. So
I would say for me though, another thing is like trust. Like I don't really like fuck buddies. Like I just need to trust her enough that she won't give me like fucking STDs or something. But I don't have like deep trust. Versus for like me to seriously date someone, there used to be a massive level of trust. Like every single one of my ex girlfriends and like my current girlfriend, I would trust her with every dollar in my bank account. So it needs to be like if you won't trust this girl with all your money, then you don't have that much trust for her. So I don't know. So that's kind of like the litmus test for me. Would I trust this girl with every single dollar that I have in this world? Not that you would ever actually like put that into practice and like, like sign off your money to her, but just like in theory, I think that acts as a good litmus test. That's my thoughts.
I think people slap labels on things, but they haven't actually investigated what the substance underneath it is. And so they'll slap that boyfriend, girlfriend label on it. But, as you sort of said, they haven't thought what they actually want. Those are some nice fucking shoes.
Can your fashion style ruin your chances of women like wearing Crocs, fishing hats? What do you guys think about that?
Dude, I'm doing a video picking up girls in Crocs.
That's funny.
So we'll see.
I like your hardwood picks up girls video. That's a good one.
Dude, Crocs, first of all, Crocs are the best shoes ever made. Just straight up. First of all, they're great material. They last forever. They're durable. They're waterproof. They're actually like made for boating. So they're actually great boating shoes. They like self-right themselves.
Are you sponsored, bro?
They're great. They're not expensive. They're like $40.
Also,
And-
I charge $1,000 for product placement. Okay?
Yeah, Crocs hit me up. And then, dude, on top of that, the business model. The material in this costs $1, but I'm willing to pay $35, $40, $50 for it. Now, on top of that, a built-in upsell. You see these holes? Some nice holes. You can plug those holes with these. These are called gibbets. So I have like this one says like bitch please. I got Eric Cartman over here. Got my dog. Like, dude, there's so many like cool little like things you can put on it. I spent triple the amount in gibbets that I did on the actual shoes. How genius of a business is this?
I've never seen
it. It's a $1 billion company right now because of that. And obviously you got to pay for the molds for them. It takes like $10,000 per mold per size. But dude, fucking love Crocs. Love the business model. I'm going to be picking up girls with them. Actually, dude, I've already fucked the girl that I met in Crocs. So you can. So yeah.
Austin can't even get hard unless he's wearing his Crocs. He's like, wait, hang on.
By the way, dude, I was out, what is it, Saturday night. I asked girls, what's your favorite accessory on a guy? All three of them in unison, hat. So I guess.
But they didn't say fishing hat, though.
Austin,
my answer is that I think I have like some of the worst fashion ever. Like I basically just get all my clothes on Amazon. So I don't think unless you have like fucking jizz stains on your pants, and even that can sometimes work, but unless it's something exceptionally terrible, I think no. I think just average fashion is fine. But I do think that having good fashion can help.
Okay, let me say this because I did a deep dive. I used my ADHD hyper focusing brain on fashion recently. So the most important thing with fashion is the fit. So if you get a well-fitting shirt like this shirt's cuts. Like it just looks fucking
cuts too.
Good. Yeah. So cuts just fit you great out of the box. If you don't have cuts, another great one is River Island. You can get the muscle fit tee from River Island. Get a bunch of black ones. If you're a little bit chunky, black is actually even good, even if it fits your body, because black is like naturally slimming. Go with neutral colors first until you know what you're doing. So black, gray, white. Get one piece of accessory. The one thing that like will just spice up any outfit is just like get a necklace, get a watch. Every man should have a watch. Like he and I, Andy and I were talking right before this. We were like, dude, this watch is $90. His is $50. This is a fake Rolex that he got. So he, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I have a fake Rolex too.
But he's got a $50 watch that looks fucking awesome. So, and just match it. Silver, gold, like that. Pants, get a slim fit cut. So it basically tapers toward the bottom. Shoes, get black sneakers, white sneakers. You can't go wrong with like Vans, what's it called? Classic canvas shoe or whatever. A white leather shoe is like the optimal like fashion shoe for like going out. Contrast with black really well. And all those colors that I mentioned, you can just swap out. So you have like, your denim, your pants. So you have like blue denim or black denim, some chinos. Like you just swap all those things out and you have like a bunch of different outfits. So you don't have to think about. Once you have the basics down, that's when you can start to like experiment a little bit more. Wear some loose fitting shirts, wear some shirts with some patterns or some like speckles on it or whatever. But yeah, until you know the basics, just do the 80-20, well-fitting clothes. They should be, if you're fat, obviously don't get like a really tight white shirt. Just get well-fitting shirts and pants and yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Fit is one of the most important things. I was in Colombia a month ago, and there was a dude in the street selling fake Rolexes. I'm like, oh, why not? Let me get one of these, right? And the dude wanted like $80, and I bartered him down like real good to like 30, $40. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. I showed this Colombian motherfucker what's what. I come back home, right, and I put the Rolex away, and then like a week later, I'm doing like a video for like a skit with my girlfriend Natty, right? And it was gonna be like picking up a gold digger. So I'm like, all right, let me bust out this Rolex. Put on this Rolex on my hand, and it just fucking explodes and like flies everywhere. I'm like, motherfucker.
I would never use this subreddit, but there's a subreddit called Reptime, Reptime, and they make identical replicas of luxury watches like Rolex, Patek Philippe, AP, and you can order them. It takes like 1 to 2 months to get from China. That they're a little identical clones. I would never use it. I would never advise anyone else to use it. But that exists. That's something I found in my research, and I would actively advise against using that.
Definitely. Never use it.
Thanks, legal team.
So yeah, I think perception here matters. Look, Austen, great advice, by the way. If anyone's just lost with fashion, then start with the basics. When you want to get a little bit, let's say, more advanced, then I would start thinking about your identity and how you want to be perceived to women. Because when I have older clients, I usually dress them up in suits. I'm like, let's give off some CEO daddy vibes. But if I've got a younger client, I'm like, let's give off some fuckboy vibes, right? So you got to think like, what identity do you actually want? And yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree objectively, Crocs look like garbage. I'm sorry, man. But you would probably pull them off because you have this very sarcastic, like, chill, I'm fucking with you, like very subtle, like confident, grounded energy, right? So if a girl sees you in Crocs, they're probably going to give you some shit. You can combat that. It shows off your confidence and it works.
Put a one in the chat if you want to see a Markus versus Austen Crocs debate.
Yeah. let's do it. I mean, I get shirts made. So I got like brat tamer now. Like I wear a bunch of shirts that start a conversation with girls. But you got to think like, what identity do you fucking want? But if you have no idea what you're doing, then yeah, just get some well-fitted black shirts or something like that. It'll be
Markus, where do you get your shirts made?
A few different places, depending where I am in the world. So right now, this was from some local company here in Sydney, but just depends where I am.
That is pretty smart because if you have Brat Tamer, because I know like I have clients who have Brat Tamer in their bio and girls open them. So I'm sure like having that on your shirt, like girls will actually start a conversation with you about that. That's actually like a fucking genius little hack. Yeah.
Those are some nice shoes, bro.
I might start doing that. It's so weird how these days. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's weird these days how people talk about all this random stuff like your job these days. In old school PA, nobody cares about us. Just creative trash and good emotions, and you're good. Yeah, that's really true. It is weird to see like the shift in the community. When I was learning game, like no one talked about like fucking your gonio angle and your fucking whether you're a Chad and whether you're like a fucking how much money you make. It was all about like what's your game, like how did you make the girl feel good? Was she?
Dude, before I forget, I need to jump in. There's they did this study where they told people something mattered. I can't remember the exact example, but they're like, so they told 40% of people like they had something on their shirt or something on their face. And then everyone they talked to that it went bad, they're like, oh, it's because something was on my face. Fuck. And what that and they didn't have anything, by the way.
Yeah.
So what that shows is that like thinking that something is going to be a downside makes it a downside for you. So like I had two students recently. One was 5'7", thought it was a huge deal. Oh fuck, I'm short. Are the girls gonna be like worried that I'm short? Or what are they gonna do? And then I had another student that was 5'7", came on immersion, and this dude's fucking ripping it up. Like, dude, we went to a Brazilian steakhouse. He's fucking talking to the waitress, gaming the waitress. He's pulling girls to my house. It's like, dude. And I asked him, I was like, I noticed during the program, you never once brought up the fact that you were short. And he goes, I didn't think it was a big deal. It's like the fact that you make something a big deal makes it infinitely worse. Objective reality, is it worse to be short if you want to bang a ton of girls? Yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder, but that doesn't give you an excuse not to approach. And yeah, just don't make things a bigger deal than they have to be, basically. Like,
yeah, that's true. If I look back, now that I think about it, like when I started coaching 2007, 2018, I never ever had guys ask me, do you think I'm too ugly for Tinder? Versus nowadays, it's like every other coaching call, the guy's like, all right, but you're sure I'm not too ugly? And like, dude, I've had some guys that you would think they're memeing me, because these guys are like actually, like, maybe they're not giga chats, but they're like 7.5s, like good dudes, but way better looking than me. We're like, but you're sure I'm not too ugly, right, Alex? And they will harp on that. So these, like, yeah, I have seen that trend. It's like highly concerning.
Dude, it's like, leave the house. Look at the ogres that are walking around with beautiful women in your city. Dude, especially Miami. These guys literally look like Shrek. They're Shrek. They're literally, Shrek is walking around with these Latina baddies.
It does happen. Alex, you mentioned, this is an interesting question. Alex, you mentioned you've never been able to secure a second date if you didn't make it out with a girl. It's not never, but it's very rare. So basically what he's referring to is that I said that, like, if I go on a first date with a girl, I don't at least make out with her, I probably won't get a second date. Has that been your guys' experience as well?
I don't make out with girls, bro. I agree. Like, I think you need some type of escalation on the first date. For me, I don't make out with girls until, like, fuck them. But I think it just builds tension a little bit better. But I think you're right. Like, you need some form of escalation. Like, if you've essentially just had a platonic conversation on the first date, trying to make anything happen after that is near impossible. You have to build something. You have to have some type of escalation. So yeah, I mean, if kissing is the metric, then sure. But for me, I'd want to have like verbal sort of sexual escalation instead of the make out. But I agree with the point.
Let me more reward. It's like if you didn't like have any kind of sexual thing happen. So for you, that's the metric. So I guess for you, the question would be like, if you didn't fuck the girl on the first night, what are the odds you would see her for a second date?
Yeah, I'd fuck all the girls. Like, if I'm having a date, I'm fucking that. No, but for real. Like, if I'm having a date, I'm fucking a girl on the first
that's
night.
what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, look, back in the day, for sure. Like, if I wasn't having any form of sexual escalation, like when I first started, I'd go on dates, like dinner dates, and I was a pussy, right? I never moved anything forward. And the girl thought that. She's like, you're a fucking pussy, and I'm never going to see you again. So, yeah, I mean, I'd rather blow it out by trying to move it forward than being safe and thinking, you know what, let's save it for date number 2. Because unless the girl is some Eastern European fucking like Russian chick, she's likely gonna think you're a huge, well, that girl will also think you're a huge pussy now that I think about it. But it's, yeah, you're killing yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Like, just fucking go for it.
One thing about that is girls will respect that you have the balls to go for it. I've literally heard those exact words out of a girl's mouth. Like, this one girl, same thing as Marcus. Like, I went through like my previous lays from dates. I think this was on the call with you, Alex. And I was like counting like when the last date I had that didn't end in sex. But that's the thing. I think the thing with Marcus, you project a sexual vibe. And like, if the whole time it's sexual vibe, sexual like tension, and she knows that you're comfortable with sexuality and there's like escalation, why the fuck would she not have sex with you? Like, if you make a girl super comfortable, you create this really inviting space for her to be sexual as well. Why would she not? And the only answer is really is like, she's on her period. She has like a really strong relationship with another guy that she would feel bad because if she wants to be with you afterward, then you're going to judge her and this type of thing. But yeah, if you do things properly, your date should be ending in sex.
Yeah, I like to tell the story, but it's pretty funny because like after Maddie, my girlfriend, way after we started dating, we're having a discussion, and she's like we're discussing our first date. So basically, what happened on our first date is we met at a bar. She didn't want to come straight over, pulled her back to my place, and she was like giving me LMR. So I just whipped my dick out and like basically had her give me like a quasi hand job, right? But so anyway, so I was asking, I don't know how this came up, but she was saying, yeah, if you didn't whip your dick out, I wouldn't have gone on a second date with you. Like she straight up said that. I was like, damn, no fucking way. She's like,
I love that.
That's what I was getting at, dude. This girl I pulled, we
I would be single right now.
yeah.
Everyone,
you get like
pull your dicks
Elamard
out.
or she, there's some resistance. You're like, okay, fine, cool, and then you take the idea of sex off the table and maybe try again. But if you hit a wall, like obviously you just stop,
Yeah,
and then you give the girl a great time, a great experience. You drop her off home, you make sure she's okay, whatever, and then when you have that second date with her, she's like, she literally will say like, I respect the fact that you actually had the balls to go for it. Like that's attractive in a man that he goes for what he wants.
Yeah, the thing
you're
is,
talking about honesty here.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's honesty. It's basically honesty. That's what you're doing. You're not having any sort of like bullshit reason that you're there. It's like, yo, we're here to fuck. And if you say no, that's perfectly fine. But like on the second day, I'm going to try again. Like that's what we're here for. And it's like, I respect that. That's honest.
You guys ever see Glenn Ross, the always be closing scene?
The winners go home
yeah,
and fuck the prom queen.
Yeah, he's like, no man enters the lot lest he wants to buy. It's like no girl goes on a date with you just for like the sake of it. Oh yeah, I'm just I have nothing to do for 4.5 hours. Let me just like spend time with this person I don't like. That doesn't make sense. They're obviously with you for a reason. So
I think also
always be
the
closing.
average person doesn't realize that you can be very persistent without being needy or creepy. So you can escalate multiple times, and you can like logically like literally like if I try everything and the girl's like still like no, I'll be like, hey, I'll say something like, hey, we're having a really good time, but you seem like really hesitant to move things further. What's up? Right? I will logically address that. And I'll spend like 5 to 10 minutes like addressing all her traumas and like being her therapist so I could get laid. But you can do all that without ever coming off as creepy or needy. It's just kind of in how you do it. And it's like if you go in for the kiss and a girl rejects you, do you get like butthurt to make a big deal out of it? It would be like, or you just like laugh it off. So you can be like super duper persistent without ever actually like crossing the line and like making the girl uncomfortable. That's something I think a lot of people don't
I'm
recognize.
so glad you said that, bro. The biggest mistake people make when this happens is they never just ask the girl like, "What's up?"
Like,
right?
what's up? Yeah, are you okay?
The girl doesn't want to fuck, and guys are like, "Okay, I'll move back, I'll re-escalate, I'll do." It's like if you just say, "Yo, this is creepy," like, what are you doing? Because it is creepy. Like you've come on a date with me. I've got fucking rope hanging up on my wall. You're in my bed. Like, why are you being so fucking creepy right now? And you just get the reason, because I've had some crazy reasons where, as Alex mentioned, girls have like broken down crying, being like, I got raped fucking a month ago and I had to fucking worried I was pregnant and blah, blah. It's like, all right, let's deal with that. And then we can move this forward. But if you never ask why, then you're never going to be able to deal with the actual problem. Now, of course, sometimes it might just be like an inherent like a value or, whatever it might be, but at least try find out the fucking reason first. So I'm glad. I think a lot of old school PUA tactics were just escalate. So I think it's a really good point.
Even piggybacking off that, you can kind of skip this entire conversation and just be like ridiculously upfront from the start if you want to. Like you can literally just on Tinder or whatever say like, yo, do you want to meet for BDSM? We're going to go to a cafe. We'll hang out for there for an hour and then I'll take you back and I'll tie you up and fuck you. Like, is that something you're up for? Like, you can kind of skip this whole thing. But
Are you guys really into
hearing
the
echo
bondage
too.
thing? I don't really like
love
bondage
it.
that much.
Man.
Like tying girls
love
up, I'm just like, they can't change positions as much. Then I have to like undo it. Like I'll do it if the girl likes it, but I'm just like, like do I have to like get into arts and crafts right now?
Maybe it's an Aussie thing. I don't know. I love it, man. It's for me. It's not only like the set. Like I do this as an art form. Like I go every week and we do like suspension and do girls from the roof and photography and everything. Like for me, it's like a fuck. I love that shit. What about you?
Have you got a website? Yeah, dude, I've got like a photography website.
Is your dream to be like a like that spider in Lord of the Rings and just have the ability to wrap girls up like just shooting webs out?
I don't know. It's like a
That'd be
Spider-Man
sick.
thing. I don't know.
That'd be sick.
You've never seen Lord of the Rings?
Oh, when I was a kid, bro. I'm old.
Yeah.
It's a long
By the way,
time ago.
Alex, the speakers are feeding back into your mic.
Yeah, there's some echo.
Really? Okay. Let me address that. By the way, Marcus, I don't know if you
It's
remember.
hard to understand these Australians and then like the feedback, dude. It's like
All right, real quick. I want to before I forget this. Do you remember, Marcus? I don't know if you probably don't, but what during the 2017 Soapbox speech when I was like breaking down my bio and the dude is like, He's like some like German dude. He's like, Alex, I have the question. I'm like, yeah, what's up, dude? He's like, what do I do if I don't do the BDSM? I was like, why don't you do the BDSM? Why don't you try? He's like, I never thought about it that way. Okay, I will try.
Such a German thing to do.
Well, this will work if I don't do the BDSM. Like, well, you try, man.
Just do it. Yeah. Just
That is a
do
good idea, my friend. How bad is the feedback?
It's subtly annoying, to be
Okay,
fair.
let me see.
But
if I
it's
can-
not too bad.
Okay.
It's excruciating.
Is this better now or worse?
Yeah, it's so much better.
Okay, cool.
That's better.
Cool.
That's amazing.
That's interesting. When I switched from my expensive fucking external microphone to my cheap computer microphone, seemed to solve the problem. What are differences between day game and night game? Oh man, I feel like that's a very broad question.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go
What are
ahead.
your guys' worst rejections ever? Like, give me like an example of like one of the worst rejections you ever had, where you're like, oh fuck.
I think one of my
Because
worst ones.
women are so nice, man. Like women are just so fucking nice. Like, you know what I mean?
I've had some bad ones.
Like the worst I've ever gotten is like fuck off, and then it's like you fuck off, and then she's like no you fuck off, and then I fucked off.
yeah.
Like
You're from Australia, so that's like polite, basically.
that's
call each other
like
cunts
common
as
language.
a-
Yeah, cunt is like cunt is
Yeah.
like just what you say to the shop assistant. Yeah.
I think
You
one of the
can't
worst
eat.
ones I've had was this was such a long time ago. It's like in LA, so 2014 or something like that. I approached this girl. I was like, it was like during the daytime. I was like, hey, how's it going? I just want to say hi. And she turned around. She did like one of these, like she's gonna punch me. I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, ah. And then she walked away. I was like, yo, this girl's like mentally retarded or something.
She might have been. she
Yeah, I
she
feel
might have
like,
just been retarded. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Andy. I think like a lot of times rejection for us, like we probably don't care about too much. It might be like a fuck you, and you try to turn it around. I think the real rejection that actually sucks and hurts is the one where you actually know the girl for a while, because it's easy to be like, okay, I open, fuck off. All right, she doesn't know me. I think the worst ones for me was years ago, right? Like you start seeing a girl, and then she's like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling it. And it's like, oh man, I need to work on myself, bro. Like, if it's been weeks and this girl's got to know me, and then she's like, you know what, not for me. It's like that hurts. That hurts. That really motivates you to improve who you are. So that's the ones that suck for me.
One of the worst ones I've ever seen was recently when I was doing the pickup competition, BMAC versus Ron. BMAC, like this chick literally called security and there she was like screaming at him. I mean, there was people staring. We got all of it on video. I don't know if you guys saw my video from today,
Yeah.
but that shit was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I have never seen anything that bad up until that point. Of course, BMAC is the one that it happens to. That was funny. Okay.
What about you, Austin?
Yeah, I had these two lesbians like kiss each other, and I was like, I just laughed at them. This is in Key West. So I said like, oh, they said we're lesbians, and I'm like, kiss each other, and they like started making out, and then I was like, class dismissed, cross the street. Like I don't know, I said something stupid. This is like I don't even know, less than a year into game. And I was like, as I was laughing at what I said, I just felt like, boom, getting slapped in the face. And it was like hard. It was like in my ear, and I heard the ringing.
Oh, there's
And
a
then
real slap.
Yeah, I sat by myself on a dock. This is like an island in Florida. And I sat by myself on a dock for like 30 minutes, meditated. Then we went back out. And yeah, we ended up pulling that night for fireworks to the car in like 5, 10, 15 minutes, something like this. And then I fucked her on a dock, the same dock I meditated on. So
Yeah, nice.
Here's
there's a will, there's a way.
Is night game beneficial, necessary to learn game? I would say it's definitely beneficial. I don't know if it's necessary. What do you guys think?
Dude, there's some things you learn in night game that you learn infinitely faster than you could in day game, like pulling, dealing with groups. Like there's a bunch of different like skill sets that you learn a lot better in night.
If you're talking in clubs, like showing sexual intent more, because like you almost can't use your words, so it's like I got to use my physicality. It's like when you travel to another country and you don't speak the language there, it's like you're gonna have to fucking touch her, then, aren't you?
Yeah, the real answer to this is no. You can theoretically learn game outside of night game. But if you're asking this question, then I know who the fuck you are, okay? You're not hiding from me. You're the type of guy that is scared of clubs, can't speak loud, enjoys doing day game because it's just the one goal. So to answer your question, fuck you, yes, very necessary. Like, go out and night game. right? It is tough, right? It's difficult, but as the guy said, you will learn so much faster. Like you have a bunch of hot girls in the one place. You can do a bunch of sets. It is going to be the playground that you're going to learn the most from. So is it necessary? No, but if you're asking this question, you're a bit of a day gamer, then push yourself a little bit, right? Get out there, and I think you'll learn a lot more from that game.
I would say this, like, I think I probably, like, more or less, like, if I look back at my whole pickup career, it's been like 50% day game, 50% night game, but like 80 to 90% of my results have come from night game. So I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I just noticed, like, I get way more results from night game, even if I spend the same amount of time with day game. Have you guys observed that?
Well, the thing with night game, you're going to find girls are less likely to have boyfriends because a guy with a girlfriend is, she's
Also
less likely to go
more
out.
likely to
Whereas
be-
during the daytime, everyone leaves the house. So,
Yeah. And it's going to depend where you are. Like somewhere, I was living in Poland last year. The day game there was just like 10 times better than night game.
Poland, you're right. I agree with Poland.
Yeah. But I mean, do what works, right? Do what works. As Austen said, if you're in an area where you can go to a club, everyone's single, they're all hot, and there's a bunch of them, obviously that makes more sense to practice.
Dude,
And to be
Poland
fair,
Poland night game is fucking brutal.
It's not as bad now, bro. So there's been this evolution of the girls back in the day were always, I'm a good girl, I don't go home. But there's been like this feminine movement now. So still day game's way better there. And there's a lot of fucking Ukrainian girls, which is beautiful. But at least the objections from night game in Poland and the receptiveness has improved since years ago. So, but yeah.
Yo, Marcus, what's your background? Are you Italian?
Croatian, so close.
Croatian.
Croatian,
Nice.
yeah. Good.
What were you going to say?
Croatia's even older, like the history there. They have some like buildings that
Say
go
that again,
like
sorry?
3,000. Croatia is like even
Oh.
older, the culture there, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, coming from Australia where there's zero culture, it's nice hanging out over there.
Yo, Andy, you were going to say something?
I was going to say, to play devil's advocate, don't feel like, I mean, Marcus already said it, don't feel like night game is necessary. Like, I would line it up with what your life is like. A lot of my clients are in their mid-30s, and they go like, yo, I have a fucking business to run. I literally am not going out clubbing. Like, I have no interest in that. It's like, cool, then don't. So it's not necessary, but it can be beneficial.
I will say this. I haven't been to a club in over a decade, but I go out
Yeah, me too.
from time to time. Like, you
Dude,
can
well, this kind of goes into the best venues to learn game. I wouldn't recommend going to extremely loud clubs that are like DJ booths and like these cafeteria clubs where it's just tables and like people that you can't talk to because it's so fucking loud. Like, I think a good like social bar, like there's one in Miami close to where Alex lives called The Wharf, and it's just like you could go there at like 6 p.m. and people are just chilling with their dogs,
That's
having
really
a
good.
drink, and it's more efficient to meet a group of people that aren't rushing to go anywhere in one place. They're just having fun. They're open to meeting people, and yeah. I think
Austin,
there's
I have
a
successfully
spectrum.
destroyed the wharf. It is literally like now just all POAs. I would blame you, but I'm definitely partially responsible for that.
I don't know if you see my stories now, but whenever I go out on immersion, I literally tag venues in Miami, so people think I'm in Miami coaching programs. I literally, dude, in 1 year, 2021, I coached more in-person programs than anyone because I moved to Miami and everything was open, so I kind of lucked out there. But, dude, and everyone was talking about Miami. All the memes were about girls that go to Miami, and, dude, everyone was just coming to Miami to party. It was actually kind of awesome. And I just, in 1 year, Alex is right, I completely destroyed the only good venue in Miami, which is the Wharf.
It's not the only good venue, but it was one of the.
I
Okay,
mean,
my standards
I
are
enjoyed
the
it
only
there, man.
great venue.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Dude,
it. We were
even the
there
ones
last
that you
year.
pay for that are like cool clubs, it's horrible. The girls are just like low quality, in my opinion. Sorry.
I will say this: I think that the best type of venue is like a big outdoor area that's not too loud, that's chill, where there's a lot high volume, that's like not too ratchet. Like it should be like upper middle class or at the very lowest middle class in like a semi decent part of town. So like it should be high capacity, good amount of people. It should be outdoor, and the music shouldn't be loud. And there should be different areas. There should be like a bar area, like a fucking chill area, like a fucking dance
And
where,
the
like,
purpose of the venue should be fun, not to like show off social status.
yeah.
Like fun venues are infinitely better at getting laid. There's one in Toronto, Canada called the Madison, and I think in addition to having an outdoor area or a place where you can talk outside and mingle, it'd be like having different areas of the bar. So like a dance floor, a place where you can play pool or you can play ping pong or some other games, a cool photo spot, and then you can just proactively like lead to different places very easily, especially like places that have couches. You can sit down with a girl. It's so much easier to escalate. Yeah, this would be my additions.
Yeah, I think there's like this weird misconception that like a club is like the ideal spot for picking up girls. That I don't never really understood how that came about. But I think a club is like not optimal. I mean, clubs can be good, but like it's super loud. There's an exclusive like fucking VIP section where you have to like pay insane amounts of money or know someone to get in, and then you're just like the ratio is usually not that good. I think like a chill lounge is so much better than like a.
It's great if you're a promoter.
Yeah, sure. That's like the exception, but yeah. Question: could a person who has facial deformity or disability get solid results with women? What should he be working on to see results? Should he just approaching loads of women? I'll let you guys field this question.
Well,
Dude,
you're the
Alex,
best person
you
to
and I
answer
both
it,
have
dude.
fucked up noses.
I think he means like a more serious deformity, though.
Okay, well,
Yeah, but you did a
should be
video on
specific.
your channel, bro, about the guy who had cerebral palsy. So that kind of answers the fucking question.
I mean, it really depends on it depends on how severe is the deformity or disability. Like there's layers of it. I would really need to see what exactly you have. But the guy who I did a video on, the guy with cerebral palsy, he has a really severe disability. Like you cannot understand him when you first start talking to him. You have to like literally learn to understand him. It took me like a half hour of talking to him before I could actually understand like every other word that came out of his mouth. So we're talking that level of severe. He has been able to get a girlfriend from Tinder. Now look, is that guy going to be pulling threesomes with tens? No, right? That's unless he becomes super famous, that's never going to happen for him. Did that guy have to go through more volume, put in more work? Yes. Right. So there are some limitations, but again, the limitations are typically much what's the term, lower or higher, whatever. Like basically your limitations aren't as bad as you think they are typically. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I'm
Really
trying to
makes
think like
sense.
what would I actually do if I had a condition like that? And it would basically be to max out everything else that I possibly could. Like I would just max out my charisma, max out social status, max out my Instagram. Dude, now if you have a deformity or some kind of like issue, you actually go viral and people are actually super positive about you on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I would literally leverage that as much as humanly possible. And network and collab and find a girl that, not every girl is a status seeking, like fresh and fit type of chick, right? There are girls that actually do connect with the energy behind guys. Now, obviously, a woman has to find you in some way sexually attractive, so there's a threshold there. But even there are girls that have exceptions, right? It's like marketing. There's the largest cohort of women are going to be attracted to tall, muscular, confident, neurotypical guys. However, there's other like contingents or cohorts that are more attracted to guys that are like the artsy kind of nerdy guys. Another like smaller cohort that's attracted to guys with some feminine qualities. There's like all different like types of women. So that's why it is kind of tricky when you kind of generalize all women, because there's different groups that will completely disagree with each other. I'll meet a girl in Toronto, Canada, who like, she's like, I only like black guys. I'm sorry. And like, I'm like, fuck, well, I guess, I could try, I could keep persisting, but it's probably not worth my time. The other thing is, so that this kind of brings up another question. At what point would you just say giving up? For me, I think that having a woman that cares about me and could take care of me, even if she was a fucking 3 or a 2 or a 4 or whatever, if I had like another arm coming out of my eye or something, like, dude, I would prefer having the 3 that cares about me and I could have companionship with, and I could have, I could fuck her with my arm coming out of my eye. Like, I'd prefer that over like nothing. But at what point do you pursue that versus not? I don't know.
I would personally never give up, but that's just kind of has to do with how I'm wired. Like I've had Lyme disease for 6 years now. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've done countless treatments, and like I'm just still like, okay, this treatment didn't work. I'm gonna do the next one, next one. So I don't know, man. Like me personally, the way I'm wired is like never give up. Like the example I always use is like my aunt who got pancreatic cancer, and that has only 5% survival rate. 95% of people who get what she had die, right? But she didn't like get discouraged or start complaining. She like literally thought out, what did those 5% do? Okay, they changed their diet. Okay, they changed their lifestyle. Okay, they did this, and this treatment. And she like backwards engineered, and she's alive today, right? So she was like, you know what? I'm gonna be the exception to the rule. So I kind of like get a lot of inspiration from that. So yeah, me personally, I would never give up if it's something I really want.
Yeah, man. Every problem has a solution.
I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that.
So
Yeah, no,
people
just,
always bring in like the
what-
wheelchair stuff. I had this documentary where I basically banged 8 girls in a week in a wheelchair, like when I fucked up my foot playing ultimate frisbee, and it's not the same as someone with a severe disability because I had an injury, and it wasn't even that bad. I got over it in like 2 or 3 months, so it's not the same thing, but. And like if a woman sees that, she knows like, oh, long term he's going to be walking, he's going to be able to like play with our kids and like run around and stuff. So it's not the same.
Well, this is an interesting question. Who are the best guys with chicks each coach has ever met, whether publicly known person or not?
As in who's
I know a
been
guy
best
that's
women?
private. Actually, no, I've interviewed several people for my course that are not well known. By the way, Andy and Marcus, if you guys want to get in on that, I'm trying to interview the 50 best people that I know in games. So that'd be cool to have you guys. Yeah. But best guy I ever knew is this guy named Dave. And yeah, this is the dude that I went to Key West with. Just I don't know how much they want me to rant about it, but he just had that like relentless energy, like. You know, if girl rejects him, he's just on to the next. He was super fun to be around, you know, super jokes. Yeah, he's probably the best person I've ever met. I don't know how much I need to rant about that.
I would say the best, I've talked about this, the best person I ever met was the guy that I learned game from. The guy, I can't say his name, but let's just call him S. He was like a really smart, like popular natural who discovered the pickup community and just like for some reason went balls deep into it. So he was a guy who already had like a lot of natural game, and then he like went really hard on pickup. And he was also like a genius, so he was able to like absorb information quickly. He was like fearless. He was like probably same level of looks as me. He was like slightly above average looking, but I've seen that guy do like some crazy ass fucking shit. Like I would see him, like we go to a bar together. I lived with him for like a year and a half together. So I like went out with him a lot. We would go to a bar and there would be like, I'd be like, oh man, this place sucks. There's like fucking it's a sausage fest. He's like, oh, there's one girl there. I'm like, yeah, she's surrounded by 10 dudes. He's like, give me a second. And he would like literally somehow finagle his way, like do some fucking wizardry and like isolate the girl and pull her back. Like this guy was insanely good. It's such a shame he's no longer into pickup because I think he could teach so much.
I want to tell one story. So the guy that I'm talking about, Dave, one of the first things I saw him do was there was a girl who was crying outside of a club, just like bawling her eyes out, like, I can't believe. Like, I don't know what happened. Like her friend left or her boyfriend like fucked her over. I don't know what happened, but I looked at him. Within 5 minutes, he was sitting down with a girl like who was crying, like consoling her. And then 5 minutes later, he's leaving with her in a taxi. And I'm like, bro, how'd your night go? He's like, pretty good, closed. It's like he just did things that I didn't think that were possible at the time and like pulled them off.
Same thing with my friend. What about
was
you,
your friend like super shameless too? Like just
100%, zero shame at all. Zero shame.
I think that is one of the best qualities of like guys that are great at games.
My
they
friend
like
was also like a kind of a narcissist. Was your friend like that too?
Yeah, for sure.
Dude,
you know what it is? You know when you meet girls that are like super hot, the hot, crazy matrix? I literally think it's because their fathers thought that they were so good that they were good enough to talk to their insanely hot mothers. Right? Like the narcissism, women can't differentiate between narcissism and confidence that well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, my friend, he literally, when I moved out to LA, like, and I was going to stay with him. And when I moved out to LA, he forgot to fucking pick me up from the airport because he was fucking some chick. And when I like confronted him about it, he was so shameless. He was like, sorry, bro, I had to get late. Like that like not a really good friend to have, but like, that's the kind of mindset he had. So, yeah.
What about you guys?
Oh, okay. For me, it's David Swift. When I met him fuck, it's been a while now, but back in the day, before we were working together, his understanding of women was just out of this world. Like it's at the time, especially for me, I was like, what the fuck? So look, there will be guys that might have incredible results, like Alex that I work with, right? But he's also very good looking. But David was this like fat guy that he's gonna hate me saying this, but fat dude that was just killing it, like doing really well with women and just had this incredible understanding. And so for me, to this day, still in understanding of women, like is the best I've ever seen.
I will say this, that David as a fat guy does way better than dudes who are really jacked from what I've seen when I used to stay with them.
Yeah.
Andy?
On mine?
Yeah.
I would say Scotty from Good Looking Loser, probably the best. I've only met him once on an interview that we did recently, but other than that, I had a friend in person, dude called Mike, who used to just, I don't know, I feel like he slept with like 100 women without even trying. He would just be friends with everybody, and he would just randomly at parties and stuff be like, yo, you want to hook up? And half the women would just say yes. So it's almost like he had zero understanding of like game or anything like that, but he was just like the most social fucking motherfucker you could ever imagine.
Yo, you know how people like they'll get jacked so that they can get a girl?
Mhm.
My buddy David Bond, the reason why he started lifting weights was not for that. He basically he was building his harem up in Colombia. He had 4 girls like on their knees ready to suck his dick, and he couldn't get hard. And he went to the bathroom, to like try to like spruce the goose, like try to get it up. And he couldn't, and then he came back out and he saw like the look of disappointment on the girls' faces. And he said one of the worst things was some of the girls started just pulling out their phones and like messaging people and stuff. And then they bounced. And he was like, dude, that was so traumatic that I knew I had to get like my testosterone and like health on track. So that's the day he decided to hit the gym, was during a 5-some.
Yeah.
I always found that funny.
I mean, he should have just fucked them anyway without his dick, right? But anyway.
That's why we like
Sad
BDSM.
day. Yeah, exactly.
Even when I approach combos become friendly, how do I actively stay man to woman interaction? This is a problem a lot of guys have. I see this question all the time. What do you guys think?
Wait,
Yeah,
before we do that, Marcus, can you talk about how to tame the brats? Just like the quick bullet points.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing is just be fucking overly confident, right? Know that you're the man in all your interactions, because look, this will happen with a lot of guys going out. They'll get a girl that's a little bit bratty, and the girls give the same feedback every single time, Austen, which is, I can't fuck any guys because they don't know how to deal with me, right? They think I just don't like them. Like a lot of the fuck yous that we spoke about with rejection aren't rejection. It's just a girl being a little bit bratty and they just want more dominance. And so just understanding that as a baseline is going to be important. And then being able to put the girl in a place. Like something as simple as smiling and saying, shut the fuck up, is enough for like 90% of the situation. So it's first step is mindset, just understand what's going on in that situation. And then you'll need to learn over time. It's somewhat advanced, but a simple shut the fuck up with a smile is usually enough. What do you think, Andy?
I think bouncing off that, man, I have a very like we're on the same team mindset with this kind of stuff. A lot of the time when a chick is being a brat, it's because it's a fucking game. And if you think like, oh, why is she being such a bitch? You're not even understanding there's a fucking game going on. Like this is meant to be a play thing, and you're just like autistically going, oh, like well, why did she say something bratty? It's like because she wants you to fucking play with her. She wants you to wrestle verbally, so to speak. So having fun with this shit, like you saying having a smile on your face and saying like shut the fuck up, with a big smile, obviously. Yeah, it's all a game.
Also, being unapologetic, I think, is a huge one.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Even when I approach with intent, my convos become friendly. All right, Andy, you wanna hit us?
Why are you having friendly conversations? Like go into each conversation, go into each interaction with something that you're trying to get out of it. Like, why are you there? Are you there because you want to have sex with it? Then why would you be in a friendly conversation? So I think going in with more intent. You're talking about like, I go in with intent, my conversations become friendly, then cut them shorter. As soon as you feel yourself getting really friendly, just go like, yo, hey, I got to bounce, but you're really fucking hot. Do you want to grab a drink sometime? What's your number? Like, cut it off. I think a lot of the time guys get into friendly conversations because they're just going on for too long, and they'll have like a 3-hour date that they friend zone themselves in. Because it's like you were just sitting there. It's hard to keep a conversation up for 3 hours and be sexual.
Here's my theory. You can tell me if you guys agree or disagree with this. I think like the lack of like having a hard time being man to woman isn't that you're not doing something. Okay, so I think everyone is wired to be man to woman. You come from a long line of men who successfully reproduce. So like 10,000 years ago, I don't think cavemen were like, oh fuck, how do I be man to woman? It's like you're a man, she's a woman, you want to fuck her, right? So it's kind of you're wired to be able to do that. The reason you're having a hard time is because of extra shit that is playing out in your brain that's causing you to hesitate. So you're worried that you're gonna come off creepy. That's a common one. You're worried that you're gonna get rejected, right? You're worried that you're gonna go too far. You're worried that this and that. So it has to do with not learning anything new, but unlearning some of the bad mindsets you've acquired. And I think the only way the way I've been able to do that is through consciously pushing past my comfort zone over and over and over again and proving to my subconscious brain that nothing bad is going to happen if I escalate or if I say that sexual joke. And then just when you prove to your subconscious brain over and over again through a series of reference experiences, you suddenly stop having this issue. This is an issue I used to have all the time. It's an issue I never have nowadays.
Yeah, to go on that, I call it sexual shame. So it's like if you can put the gas down, right? What is the typical advice? Strong eye contact, dominant vocal tonality, getting close, touch the girl, a couple statements of intent, build some sexual tension. But if you're not comfortable with your own sexuality, that will pervade everything. That'll come out through everything that you're doing. So I had sexual shame from a religious upbringing. So I used to go to church twice a week. I played in the church band. I play a youth group on Wednesday nights. I was told that even if you're masturbating, it's bad. So I would jerk off and be like, oh, God, dude, God's watching me. Fuck. So unwiring that takes some time, takes some effort. And yeah, it could be that, or it could be from having a smothering relationship with your mother where she just kind of overbearingly showed you love. It could come from your peer group, or it can come from let's say you're at school and you say you like a girl and everyone shames you for that.
That's what it was for me.
Or it could be, or like Alex was talking about too, this influence from society or media telling you it's creepy to approach, or it's wrong, or you're gonna get in trouble with HR or these type of things. So
yeah, I've got 2 practical steps for the guys. So the first thing I'd want everyone to do is, before you're open, if there's something you're struggling with, look at the girl and just think, okay, how does she want to be fucked? Right? How would I fuck this girl? So I actually tell my students, I want you to picture that girl that's walking down the blonde and think, okay, this girl loves to be fucking throat fucked, or she wants to be bent over or tied up. What is she like? Does she want to call you daddy, master? And if you're thinking about this and you're experiencing the shame, then you need to start dealing with it then. Actually deal with that mindset right then. But if you're not, at least you're going into this interaction already feeling a little bit sexual to begin with. Then once you're in there, this is what a lot of guys do. It's like, hey, you look really cute. I had to come say hi. There's your intent. And then you go back to being a pussy. You just go back to this platonic, I don't want to fuck everything up. So have a structure. Force yourself in your structure to be sexual. So if you're saying the next question, which is where are you from? Then in your structure, add something sexual in there if you want. It could be a smirk being like, don't fucking lie to me. You're not from here. She's like, no, I am. I'm like, really? That's sexual. When you get a little bit deeper, again, you can ask hey, what do you think of the guys here? Right? The reason I ask is I can tell blah, 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 sexual cold read. So start your interaction thinking about fucking her. And then in your structure, add elements of not only words that are sexual, but attach subcoms that are sexual to that. It's really hard to ask a girl what type of guy she likes without feeling a sense of the sexuality within it if you practice it. So that would be my practical steps if you're the type of guy that's 10 minutes into a combo and realized you're friend zoned.
Dude,
That first thing you said is genius, man. Yeah, I have in my Tinder guide, when you go on a date, when you're sitting there, repeat this mantra to yourself over and over and over in your head when you're sitting, with her. I want you, I want you, I want you. And keep saying it in your head until you get to the point where you're just this ball of fucking lust. And then it's well, fuck, now I'm definitely taking her back to my apartment, aren't I? Because I'm fucking horny. I've just gotten myself horny. So yeah, having that intent.
Dude,
and that's where the health stuff comes in too, because if you have low T and you have in your busting nuts to porn 3 times a day, it's going to be tough to have that same lust come out.
Dude, I used to have this pre-date ritual when I was like kind of learning game. Is like when I had a date with a girl, like right before she came over or before I was about to meet her, I would go on Pornhub and find a girl. Like, so if it was like a big titty brunette, I would type in big titty brunette gets fucked, and I wouldn't jerk off. I would just watch it for a minute or two, just so I could clearly visualize, and I would imagine that's the girl I'm going on a date with.
Dude,
By the time I show up to the date, I have this very strong visual image of me fucking the girl. Dude, that shit works
Bro,
like
That's
that.
cool.
We
Like,
both,
I used
we
to
both
do
have
that shit.
different definitions of visualization, but yeah.
Bro, I used to storyboard, like literally fucking storyboard, like map out, and like Marcus, maybe you did this nerdy shit too, of like the BDSM, like the scene that I was gonna do. So I would go and look at porn, and I would like save GIFs and shit, and I'd be like, okay, so for the first like 5 minutes, I'm gonna do this, then we're gonna transition to this, then this, and I'd like have it all fucking mapped out before I'd meet.
Yeah, I have a sexual structure, right? The same way a game where I'm like, okay, I have to open, transition, okay, when's the time to sexual? I have like a flow chart of different sexual scenes, let's say. So if I get a girl that says I love to be degraded, I've got a flow chart for that, bro. Like
you're like, let me pull out my fucking folder. All right, so page 47.
wait there.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah,
but that's how I learned, right? That's how I learned. Now it's obviously same with game. I'm not sitting there being like, what am I going to say? It's like all very natural and flowing. But I think people in sex should have the same structure that they use in game. I don't see why not.
Yeah, the psychosexual thing is every aspect. It's from like the time that you meet the girl to the time that you're dating. Kind of flows. Do you guys have it where like you can tell a girl's type like very early on, like what she likes to be fucked in bed?
Yes, but I cheat by asking.
More or
so
less.
that's-
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, you have to confirm the suspicion. Yeah.
What kind of advice can you give to? This is an interesting question. What kind of advice can you give to someone struggling to find like-minded people and friends in whose small town can't afford to move out to a big city? I don't think he's gonna like my advice, so I'll let you guys go first.
Yeah, he's not gonna like
I
my
know what your
advice because it's
advice
probably
is.
gonna be like
It's
you.
It's probably something.
I'd say you can't afford to stay in your small town. That's what I'd say.
That's what I'd say.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'll move down to LA. I grew up in a small town, like relatively small town, not rural, but like highly suburban. I flew out to LA. I had no money. All I had was I sold my car for like $4,000, and I just had that in my bank account. I was like, but I'm gonna make it. So I just racked up credit card debt. I'm not saying that's the best,
man.
but I was like confident that like, okay, eventually I'm gonna be able to do something. I was like, I'm not gonna fucking waste my life. Because the one thing I can't get back is like my time. I'm not gonna waste my 20s in a small, tiny town living with my parents. I'm gonna move out to this like big city and then see what happens. And it worked out. It can work out if you like put your mind to it. So yeah, I would say that that would be my advice is like take a little bit of a leap, calculated leap though. Have a plan, but take a leap.
So much financial and life advice is for maxing out your life if you want to be asexual. Like, you ever hear these people who are like, financial, like, dude, I just save every dollar I have and I don't spend any. I just go shopping at like the homeless shelter and I don't use water to bathe. It's like, if you want to have sexual intercourse, you should use your money to have a good life and to live where you want to live and to, enjoy things, right? You can't take the money with you too.
Yeah, cool. If not, but can each coach show their current online dating profile pics? I mean, you guys have seen mine 1,000 times, so I think it'd be more interesting if mine are the
Dude,
same.
I have the funniest thing I put on. I think it's Hinge. Well, no, it's not going to be funny because I set it up like that.
Is that a dick pic?
You can't post that.
Yeah, we want to see you. We want to
You
see
can.
your dick
That's
pics,
not.
Andy.
You can post it. We just get demonetized and kicked off. We get in trouble.
Like on Hinge, you can add the prompts to the photos. So it's like, are you a dog person? Because, and it's just me on a camel. So,
dude, one of my favorite videos I ever made was that like fucking Fresh and Fit kick out mockumentary video that you and I did. That was one of the funnest things ever.
So I got the headshot. I had some
Handsome
girls say
motherfucker.
that they like this one.
Handsome.
Do you guys want the prompts too?
No, I think just the photos is fine.
Okay.
Can you pull yours up, Andy and Marcus, if you guys have it?
I've got mine.
This is like taking to Barcelona, good body pic. Some girls like this. So then I got the dog. The dog. What else? This photo did really, really well on Photo Feeler, and I've had some pretty good response to it too. This is in Chile. There's like a goat in the background. That should look pretty cool.
For the background.
It's just like a fun group friend picture yachting.
Mm.
You want me to go next?
Alex, can I call you out on one photo?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. How do I?
I'll just
Oh,
share
you're
my.
at it?
What is it?
Yeah, click on the photo with you in the suit.
This one?
No, in the middle. Yep.
The gray suit.
This one, right?
To me, this looks like you put on your father's suit to like go do a presentation at school, and your like pants are
it's
sagging.
the fucking
It's just
checkered.
too loose.
It's the
Yeah.
checkered squares as well.
I don't use this on my Tinder. This was I actually did buy that suit literally the day. It was a photographer. It was that Justin guy. He was visiting Miami. He's like, "Yo, man, you helped me so much. I want to."
So you didn't have time to get it tailored.
Yeah, I want to give you a free photo shoot. I'm like, "God, shit. Let me fucking go to a store and buy this shit. Let me go to a store that has a good return policy." But then I wound up keeping it because I liked it. But yeah. In terms of
Did
photos,
you get it tailored? Well, you don't even wear suits.
I don't wear suits. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is one of the photos I would use. I think this is a really good one.
I like it.
This is another one I would use.
This one to me, that your legs in that black and white one to me looks like you're handicapped from the waist down.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gotten a pretty good reception. Another one I would use is this barbecuing one, and then
I like it.
I would use this one, and I have a shirtless selfie that I use, and then I also use a this photo of my dog. I just literally have that in there, and that kind of like mitigates my douchebag factor.
By the way, your dog was really cute in the background.
Yeah, he's always good.
See if I found the.
He's sleepy.
This was him behind you for a while.
Yeah, I know.
You creepy fuck.
Why does he look like he's always posing for a dog food commercial? Like,
Because he is. he's a fucking attention whore. Okay, here's a piece of life advice. Do the opposite of this guy. Like, just to give you guys the context, this dude like fucking doesn't have a job, doesn't have a cell phone, doesn't have I believe he doesn't have electricity, doesn't have any social life, doesn't have any girls. Yet he has time to argue with people in the comments and tell them that they're ugly, that it's over for them, or that they're busted. Just be the opposite of whatever the fuck this dude does, and you'll be okay.
what is this? The quote goes, "Misery loves company," right? If only I could share this misery with more people.
I caught HSV2 last week. Shower tolerance of payment seems like too big a risk.
Dude, welcome to the club.
Not
Everyone
Isn't
that
that the
has
one
had
that
sex with
everybody
more
has?
than like 3 or 4 people pretty much has herpes. If
he's talking
this is
about
another
the
reason why to
herpes.
focus on health. If your health is really good, you suppress herpes to the point where it doesn't even show up in blood tests. So there you go.
That's true. Yeah. Also, I believe you're only contagious if you have an outbreak. So as long as you don't have an outbreak, I don't think you have anything to worry about. Opinions on best cities in the world for high quality chicks. What do you guys think?
Definitely Miami, as close as you can get to Brickell, next to Alex's apartment. That's like the optimal spot, and you can game at the Wharf.
Please don't.
I mean, depends
Think
what
about
you're
it,
after.
Miami-
Depends what you mean. What high quality is, right? Depends what your definition. If you're just talking looks, then dude, personally, you just can't beat fucking Ukrainian women. So obviously, you can't go to Ukraine right now. But in Poland, there's a lot of. Well, listen, if you're dedicated to the game, all right.
There's nothing more badass than killing a few Russians.
Exactly, it's alpha.
That's a
right?
DHV. That's a DHV.
Exactly. Put that in your Tinder profile.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, Poland had some of the hottest girls in the world right now. But also Sweden, like Norway, Finland. There's some I like tall, skinny blonde girls. That's what I'm saying. Depends. Like I don't like South American looking women, but I know for some of you boys, that's probably your type, right? So it's gonna depend. But for me, if you're asking me, Sweden, Finland, Norway, Poland, they're my go-tos.
I would say for pure looks, I agree with Sweden. Because the girls in Sweden, they have ass. Like they have good ass. I will disagree with Ukraine simply because the Ukrainian women are super beautiful, but they have no ass. I actually met one girl had an epic ass in Ukraine, and she flew out like within a few hours of meeting her to the UK because they like her ass over there. So she gets paid as a model in the UK. So I was like, fuck, dude. Like the one girl with a nice ass in this country has left. But yeah, different strokes for different folks. Dude, have you guys had students that like literal emaciated girls, like they look like they just escaped from Auschwitz? And then you have students that literally like fucking obese BBWs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking
Different
weird. Dude.
folks, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, for
Can
sure.
I tell a quick story about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was in Berlin teaching immersion, and I had the student, and he was like, "Yo, come wing me with these two girls." And I'm like, "Okay." So I pop in, I wing him with the uglier girl, and afterward, I'm like, "You grab her number?" He's like, "No, dude. Like, you stole my fucking girl." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "That girl, she had such an epic booty." And I was like, "This girl literally looks like she escaped from the fires of Dachau." And so, like, dude, it just blows my mind that like how different guys' tastes are. But yeah,
Yeah, that's true. What are your most impressive lays? Like situations where you either completely turn things around and manage to close with all the odds against you. I wrote my story down. It was that time in Prague. You guys have heard it probably a million times, so I'll let the other guys answer.
Yeah, I love this question just because, especially when I was learning game, I became obsessed with girls that would like fucking reject me. So if there was a girl that told me to fuck off, like even to this day, like I get turned on by it because it was like a mindset thing I tried to create. And so I've got a couple of lay reports from back in the day that are probably in the old group somewhere where I've literally gone up to a girl and she's been like, "Go away, like fuck off." So I'm like, okay, right? So I try to go back again, fuck off again. So I'm like, okay, now I come back with like one of my fuck buddies, holding hands with her to try reopen. And she's like, "I'm engaged." And I'm like, okay, just told me to fuck her. And this happened multiple times over 2 weeks. So I saw her the next week, went up again. I had to like, again, bring another girl over, try and make her jealous with that. And eventually ended up fucking this girl. But it was after a lot of persistence. It was literally like 6 times reapproaching this fucking girl. So those are the type of lays looking back on that I think really, if I didn't have that level of I want to make this happen in persistence, it just never fucking would. So it's an important, let's say, mindset to learn from, let's say.
To quickly like touch on that, sometimes it's just like has to do with like the mood she's in that day. So I remember one time I approached this girl outside the gym and she was like really weird. She's like, give me this like, "Yo, please go away" vibe. And like I just like I didn't even bother asking for a number. She was like so standoffish. And then I saw her at Whole Foods like a few days later. We made eye contact, and then I went up and talked to her again, and she was like super chill, got her number. And I was like, "Hey, you realize we met before?" She's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, we met at LA Fitness. You were a little standoffish." And then she's like, "Oh my God, I was just having such a bad day." So sometimes there's like a little bit of element of that as well.
100%.
Aside from Alex, what do you guys think of Mike Sartain's approach to gaming? Interesting question.
I think it's great, and I think not everyone can do it, and that's one of the things that makes it great is that it's a natural strategy that. So basically, when you think about like hunter-gatherer times, men and women connected very effortlessly because there was familiarity already there. I always say the only part of game that is not natural is approaching, because your brain didn't evolve to deal with the concept of strangers. That's why you have to desensitize to it. But what Michael Sartain does is he basically positions himself as an authority, and he has natural pre-selection because he has so many women around him. By the way, if people listening don't know who he is, he's basically like, he's an old school game guy who he did like Mystery Meth and this type of stuff. And then he gradually progressed into doing Social Circle, which isn't what you think of as Social Circle. It's like he uses events, and actually is kind of more Social Circle than most Social Circle game coaches. I think what it does is fucking awesome. And he basically has the only type of girls that he likes around him, which are usually like fake tit, like kind of 30 to 40-year-old white chicks. And they're like on covers of magazines and stuff like this.
They're really hot. Yeah.
And yeah, he's just constantly surrounded by them. The thing that he does is he makes sure that he doesn't put any very intense moves on. He like waits for a lot of signals from the girls before he will do anything with them. And sometimes he'll proactively not do things with them because it jeopardizes other situations. When you guys talk about, like, there's a couple questions on Social Circle game. My favorite explanation of this is like, you need to learn how to hunt before you can learn how to farm. So you need to learn how to get good at like closing girls one-on-one, which Michael Sartain did. And now he's learning how to farm, or he's actually quite a master at it. He knows how to like build these systems up. Same thing with Justin Mark. Justin Mark learned how to game. I was literally with him in Toronto when he was learning how to game. Now he's a promoter that has like sick logistics and everything is just set up. So like a guy that, you know, without this skill set and without this knowledge would not even, you know, he wouldn't be fucking the type of girls he wants to fuck. Now it's like girls are literally competing for him. So it's a really cool thing to set up. But a lot of guys, they like to skip ahead. They like to say, oh, you know what? I don't want to do that game stuff. I just want to be like Michael Sartain and have like 500 women around me. I want to be like Justin Mark and have like 30 women begging to fuck me. It's like you realize that these guys have like a decade of game experience that they're leveraging in a social circle setting. So those are kind of some of my thoughts on it, but I think it's fucking awesome. And it makes sense why they do it. Evolutionarily speaking, it makes sense why they do it like in the modern era with Instagram and leveraging that. And I think it's sweet. So
I agree with everything you said. Marcus,
one thing I will say, it is not for my personality, straight up. I'm more of an introvert. I'm 70% introverted. I cannot handle people around me all the time. I delved into Justin Mark's lifestyle for like 5 days in Toronto, and it's fucking nuts, dude. Constant messaging, constant DMing, constant setting things up, getting people together, constantly around people. Like if you are really high on the extroversion scale, I think it's great, but dude, I don't want to do it. And I just don't. So
yeah, I agree, man. I think the issue I have with these, like, let's call them like social circle coaches. I don't know how they refer to themselves as, but my issue is the messaging sometimes, and I don't know them that well. But the messaging sometimes feels like, oh, you're fucking shit with women. Great. Let me teach you how I did this. But I agree. Like the big problem is I've seen students do this where they get these events happening and they'll have a bunch of hot women around. They'll have access to this, somewhat of a status because they're organizing it, but they have no idea what the fuck to do with that access and with these women. And so they have the issues that we've seen, all these questions. What do? I can't make it sexual. I don't know how to approach. My tonality is off. Like all the issues that everyone faces in the chat and that we've all faced learning game, you're going to face regardless if it's a party with a bunch of hot girls standing there. You're not suddenly going to be amazing in game. So I think all of us to some extent have gone through this process and got good at game first. And now, I mean, Andy, we heard he's got a girlfriend that's probably on Tinder and fucking Hinge and shit, finding threesomes for him. I do the same with girls that I'm seeing. Just on the weekend, we had networks to like a sex party, some OnlyFans creators there. I closed a couple of girls there. So I think there's a balance here. And there's some guys that are just fucking exclusively game and cold approach and don't take advantage of the socials. And I think there's guys that are just so socially focused and just never close any fucking goals. So finding where you're at in that journey, focusing on that, take advantage of what you can in these different social situations. But nothing's easy. Game isn't, you're never going to get good at game in a weekend, right? On my boot camps, I'm not going to pretend you're going to be fucking killing it out of this world and be as good as me after a weekend. The same way, learning some social circle shit, you're not going to be killing it like some of these guys you see are. So it's my 2 cents.
Yeah, to tag on that more, social circle stuff doesn't really work unless you go all in with it. It's not like you throw a party once and everyone comes. The first party you throw is going to be like 7 people, and you just have to make it fun, get some footage of it, post it, and then have more girls come and more girls come over time. And there's a reason why they call promoters call it like being in the golden handcuffs. It's like they have this epic lifestyle that most guys would like kill for, basically, like where they're just surrounded by like really high status guys begging them for attention. They're around really cute girls begging for them to take them out. But if they leave that role, it kind of falls apart. So there's that too.
Okay. Can Andy and Pamela go more into the difference between a chick being bratty and just being rude, awful? I heard Andy talk about this before.
Yes, I did a full video on my channel. Just search for Kill You're in a Loser Bratty. I think this is one of those things where especially with a lot of BDSM, you get better at picking up the sub-communication and stuff like that the more you do it. And so the first thing I would do is give yourself permission to kind of suck at reading the signals at the start. That's perfectly fine. But the way I would look at it is like this. If she's being bratty in a fun way, like she has a bit of a smile on her face, she's cheeky, she's being a bit silly, it's clearly a game, then that's bratty, that's fun. But if she's just straight up rude, like she's like, no, you need to get the fuck out of here right now, it's like, well, that's not really bratty, that's just kind of being rude. And so the thing that I would say here is just, from your point of view, control what you can control, which is, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to be the brat tamer or the dom, and I don't really care how she responds. If I don't like how she responds several times in a row, then I'm allowed to leave. Like, rather than thinking I have to tame her, you're coming more from a position of like frame or power. You're the dom, you don't really care how she behaves. You'll either tame her, and if she isn't willing to be tamed, you'll fucking leave. So I'd come from that position of power, which really is just the ability to walk away, and give yourself permission to get better at taming brats over time. It takes a bit of practice, or at least it did for me.
What do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, brattiness comes out when there's attraction first. That's what you guys need to realize. So a lot of the time, if you go up to a girl and she's like, go away, ooh, yuck, I don't want to speak. It's just
that's not bratty. She doesn't know.
Yeah. She's just not attracted. So you have to, in that situation, I'm going to fall back on my knowledge of what do I do when girls aren't attracted. So I'm going to speak to the friend. I'm going to show her some attention. I'm going to start DHVing. I'm going to start building that attraction from the girl. Now, once she's attracted, she will think, okay, I want to test him more. I want some more dominance. So the way I explain this to guys is, imagine, just for a second, I put you in this scenario, right? You're a girl, and your objective for the night, I know this sounds weird, but your objective for the night is to get choked and slapped, right? That's what you want to do, but you can't ask for it. You can't ask for it, because then you lose the game. So when you go out, how are you going to initiate this? You're going to look for guys that look a little bit more dominant. And when they start talking to you and you're attracted to them and you like them, you're going to start giving them a little bit of shit. You want to provoke some slapping and choking. So that's basically what's happening. So once you have the attraction, when they have the flirtatious, like, what are you going to do about it? Or what the fuck's with your Crocs, right? And then Austen is like, what the fuck did you say? Right? Say it again. That is how you, yeah, there you go. That's how you're going to deal with it.
Wait, Marcus,
so
one correction. You said approach guys, but you meant approach girls.
Yeah, I say guys is gender neutral. Okay, it's 2023.
Okay.
All right, can
You're
you?
also sensitive. I got you.
Yeah. No, but I do say guys for girls. Actually, it's when I open, it's usually hey guys. I just an old school.
I just want to clarify for the chat so they don't get the wrong impression. You know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I got you.
If anyone wants some grinder coaching, yeah, let me know. But yeah, so yeah, essentially that's what I look for.
Yeah, I think I've dealt with a lot of brats, and I have like lay reports on that and shit. But like nowadays, personally, I find like the real brats like kind of annoying. And I just like personally, well, kind of do what Andy says, which is just like not fuck with that. Like if a girl like pushes a little too far, I mean, yeah, like you can. I used to enjoy the challenge, but it's gone kind of like just like annoying. But also, I think that the distinction is this. What a brat is doing is she's trying to weed out all the fake alphas, all the beta guys, right? So at a certain point, when you pass an alpha or shit test, she's going to become really sweet and submissive and compliant. That's just every brat. If you pass it, if you go through enough of her fucking shit test, a rude girl will never become like sweet and submissive and compliant. She's always going to be a bitch. So I think that's the key distinction.
Yeah, think of it as a game. Brattiness is a game. Like, again, half of these questions, it's not this question, but like a lot of the way people look at brattiness is like it's this combat situation. Guys do the same thing with just like game and talking to women. It's not a fucking combat situation. This is meant to be fun, or it's allowed to be fun.
Let's talk about how you would fail with a brat. So I think this will help the guys. So
punching her in the face.
That's one. But
that's a fair.
Okay, one of the ways you would fail with a brat is by getting reactive, aggressive, like just
that's what I just said.
Anyway, yeah. Well, I mean, typically it's not punching the face, just getting like kind of riled up. Basically, avoid every single thing that Myron does. Right. That's number one. Number two is actually the opposite of that. Is if you become apologetic and you start acting like a bitch, you start backtracking, you start apologizing, you start second guessing yourself. Those are two ways you can fail with a brat. The way you should really typically pass a brat shit test is either agree and exaggerate, where the girl's like, you're going to wear Crocs to the date? Fuck yeah, I love Crocs. Wear your Crocs, right? Agree and exaggerate. Or Well, actually, no, sorry, that was flip it on her. That's one, kind of like just like passive. Or number two is just like you just don't give a shit. You're like, yeah, I love Crocs. Anyway, like you just don't give a shit. So just let it completely roll off you. So I think that's also hopefully some guidance for you guys. Here's an interesting question. For the coaches, how bad is having a higher pitched voice of guys is something women can overlook? I think the guys know my answer on that, so I'll let you guys answer first.
Yeah, deep voices are seen as more attractive in short-term dating and long-term dating as well. So
Just get a voice coach. It's like super easy solution right there.
But Andy, how much can you change your voice? I'm legitimately asking. I'm not like trying to like debate you. How
My
much can
understanding
you?
is a decent amount. Unless
Really?
you literally have some physical deformity in your vocal cords or something.
Because I would venture to say that I think like a good percentage, not always, but a lot of the time when men have like a higher pitched voice, it's a lack of testosterone. Like with me, when I got in TRT, my voice became like significantly deeper.
it's
So-
but it's also where the voice is coming from. Sorry.
That's a
Yeah,
part of it,
diaphragm.
yeah, if it's coming from your diaphragm or whatever.
I'd go deeper in this question. Like, why are you asking this question? You're asking this question to avoid going outside and talking to women. And I say that in a gentle way, but that's like 98% of the questions is like, is this something women can overlook? Go tell us. Go talk to 100 women and tell us. Like, here's the short answer. Yes. There you go. Now go.
Andy,
go.
you're the Sigmund Freud of game. Every question,
I'm just
you're
like, go fucking.
What does
yeah,
this
it's like,
say about your relationship with your mother? Let's read
because
into
it's like people never ask, like we as human beings never ask the question we're actually trying to ask.
Well, I would
We'll ask
say
some like bullshit like question because we're trying to hide the actual thing, which is, can you guys just tell me that it will be okay? That's what the question is saying. Can you tell me that
Yeah.
it'll be okay if I go outside? Can you tell me that I'm allowed to get laid? Can you tell me that I'm not a waste of space and I deserve something? It's like, yeah.
I would just say be pragmatic about it, dude.
You're
You
harsh,
can't.
man.
You're. It's not like do they overlook it or not overlook it. It's like, dude, you can just improve your voice and then you don't have to worry about it. Like it'll take you maybe 3 to 6 months of work. You know, you're improving your testosterone. You're also doing vocal exercises. Like I can give you one right now, Mr. Rizgod Keen. He's a Rizgod, dude. Why is he asking us for advice? Really, just make a ooh sound and make it lower. Ooh, ooh. And then when you speak, naturally your voice is automatically lower in like 10 seconds. So this is one of the vocal warm-ups that I got. I think I got it from like a TED Talk or something, but it's been good over the years.
yeah, I would
Yeah,
say
I think
also.
we can.
Sorry, go ahead, Marcus.
Sorry, bro. I think we can extrapolate this question. There's everyone with some type of insecurity, let's say, right? Like,
Yep.
if I'm fat, can I go out? If I'm too short, if I'm Indian, if I have an accent, if my voice is too high, if I wear Crocs, like whatever it might be, right? There's always going to be something that you might be worried about. So, be pragmatic. Try improve what you can, but your mindset should always be it doesn't fucking matter. So if you're fat, a girl's gonna look at you a little bit less attractive. Of course, yes, we know that. If your voice is high pitched, of course, we know this, right? We know the answer. But it's like go fix that pragmatically. And second is a mindset. Just know that it won't fucking matter. If you are amazing in bed, if you have a really great job, if you get really good with women, you have a lot of pre-selection, all these things are going to overcome your fucking high-pitched voice, right? So work on it from both ends, but I agree with Andy, right? Don't let it fucking stop you.
I mean, I'll say this. It also depends to what degree. Like, if we take someone like David Swift, he has a neutral voice, right? I wouldn't say his voice is deep, but it's not high either. It's like kind of like neutral. So if your voice is like neutral, I think that's one thing versus like, hey, what's up, guys? My name is, like blah, blah, blah. That's totally different type of situation. But it's kind of like a meme at this point. Whenever there's a guy that comes on a speed date, he has a really high-pitched voice. Everyone in the chat is like, oh, let me guess. Alex is going to say, fucking get your testosterone levels checked. But that is like really fucking important. Like, do get your testosterone levels checked. I'm not saying you have to get on TRT, but get your levels checked. There are some natural things you can do to improve that. And if you exhaust all your natural options, then you can consider TRT depending on your age and your goals. But I do think that's like an important thing to do, and you can't negate that part. That's like a key part of it. Like you can see how much my voice changed. I used to have like low testosterone. Now I don't. Like you can see how much my voice changed. So yeah. There's definitely
Shameless plug. Check out my testosterone video if you just search testosterone Austin Summers. Like a big thing that people overlook is endocrine disruptors in the environment. A lot of plastics. Like even if you drink out of cans, that's plastic. You want to get glass bottles or a stainless steel water bottle. And actually, water is one of the biggest sources of endocrine disruptors. You should get a reverse osmosis filter. Yo, I had one thing I was going to say before. I don't know what coach you were talking about or something, but how great. Oh, you were talking about Myron. How interesting would it be if like there was a requirement you have to strap a GoPro to your head and approach women for 30 minutes straight to be eligible to talk about dating online?
I like it. I like it.
Or if or like you just left it on your channel, be like, and it was like pinned. It was like you have to leave that up there. Like you can replace it if you can go out again for 30 minutes. But yeah,
that would weed out 99% of people in the industry.
Dude, we did something similar on my forums. I set it up so that you have to have a picture of yourself, and it has to be of you before you can even sign up. And it's like, bro, that just like eliminates half of the people who just like talk, because it's like we can see in your picture that you're morbidly obese. So it's like,
Question: I have issues multitasking and focusing, going out while focusing on my hard curve in my career at the moment. Any suggestions? I already got results from game. My opinion is that it's okay sometimes to take temporary breaks as long as you do just the bare minimum to maintain. You can maintain with going out like every other weekend, like once, like that's enough to maintain. Also, I personally took 6 months off when I was focused on other shit. It took me maybe a week to get back to where I was. So once you get to a certain point, it's really easy to maintain, but it's really hard to improve. So that's kind of my advice. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to add to that.
yeah, I would focus every day on just moving forward in some capacity in your life. Like, and as long as you're making some progress in something, it sounds like right now you're at a point where your career is just your number one focus or the thing you're passionate about. Cool, go all in with that, kick ass with that, focus on that. If girls go into the background for a little bit, fine. Like Alex said, I wouldn't neglect it. Like I wouldn't take 4 years off and come back and go like, golly gee, like why am I struggling to say hello to the cashier? But yeah, it's fine if you're focusing on something else. Just commit 100% to the thing you're focusing on.
If you just approach girls as you go through your day, that you will maintain like that in and of itself. You don't need to
even less than that.
content.
Even just talking to other human beings. I did a video on my channel where I was like, just talk to everybody when you go outside. Like literally just smile at the person in the elevator. Just say like, yo, hi, how's your day when you're at the checkout? Like just talk to people to keep that social like gear turning.
Does anyone have anything they want to add to that before we move on to this? Okay, this guy asked a really good question. Where does each coach see themselves ending up in game? Forever bachelor, long-term monogamy, one-way open marriage, sister wives, lol. What about having kids? I'll let you guys go.
All right, I'll start.
I'm ready there.
Look, I've gone through some evolution with this. I got into game to find the girlfriend and have kids. That's when I first started. But I've evolved, and as of now, and it might change, but as of now, I see myself with multiple wives and adopting children when I'm older and settling down in true cities. So just staying in summertime, essentially.
Why not having your own children?
I've thought about this quite a lot, and I want to adopt some kids.
Marcus doesn't want competition. His kids are going to be better than him.
Yeah. No, I mean, I want to adopt some kids that are a little bit older, and because I plan on having kids when I'm older, and that have had a bit of a shit life. That's my plan. Because I used to be a pediatric nurse, for those that don't know, back when I was younger, and I saw a lot of kids coming through that their whole life, is just going to shit because of where they started. Like it's just. There's nothing really they can do about it. We can argue about that, but their life is just going to shit because of the upbringing they've had. And so, yeah, I can bring my own kids into the world, but I've never been the type of guy to be like, I need them to have my fucking genetics. So for me, yeah, I want to have some multiple wives, live in a nice place, and then raise some kids that have had a shit upbringing. That's my plan.
But how do you get multiple wives to be with you long term if they don't have their own children? Because that's one of the biggest desires of human beings.
Yeah, I think there's a part of this which comes back to having our value screening properly. Like there are women now that I'm seeing and speaking to that are open to this, and I like that would actually sound fucking amazing, and I like the idea of it. Now there's a difference between a girl you've been seeing for a couple of years saying yes in the future that's something I'd be open to, and it actually happening. I understand that, but I have no doubt in my mind that it's completely possible, if not probable.
But dude, if you're gonna have wives, they're probably gonna be hot, and then you're creating less attractive people on the planet, and the population collapse is coming.
Dude, let this man not have kids. Jesus Christ. He doesn't want to fucking...
he really wants me to have kids. I mean, I'm not against it, right?
Population collapse is a huge issue.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
Marcus
I'm
is
not
gonna
against
solve
the
that
idea. Like
single-handedly.
if one of my wives like has a kid, I'm not gonna be like, get rid of that motherfucker. But it's it's just my preference would be adopting kids that have had a.
The other thing is you have stronger parental instincts with your own genetic children. There's some ridiculous number. I think it's like it's either like 50 or 100 times more abuse happens from a stepfather to a stepson than from a father to a son. Not saying that you would do that. I'm just saying that's one instance of where it's better to have the genes of your children reflect your own genes.
The argument to this is I completely agree with that, right? My argument to this is that I feel like once I make that choice and decide to commit to these children that I potentially adopt, is that me as a stepfather will probably be better than the shit fathers out there, if that makes sense. So I agree with that 100%. And I'm not against having my own kids. It's just working in that environment and seeing these kids have just such a shitty upbringing and constantly just abused and go in and out, and they're going to end up in prison. I'd rather at least attempt to help give them a loving family and home than to have my own kids. Again, I'm not against having my own kids. Maybe that happens, but that's just my thought process at the moment.
All right, Andy?
I like it. I like it, man. I think it's fucking beautiful. I'm already where I want to be. I've been with my girlfriend for about 5 years. We sleep together with girls, so it's a one-way open relationship. That's going to keep going. She finds half of the girls for us. Yeah, I'm happy with where things are. No kids, not interested. Had a vasectomy when I was 28. So, yeah.
Oh, damn.
What about you, Austin? Well, we know where you stand on having kids versus adopted.
Long term, I see myself like with dementia in a mounted bunker, just stacking weapons and provisions for the global collapse. But in the interim, no, I'm just kidding. Similar to Marcus, but I want to have multiple. I want to have multiple wives or multiple long term partners that I raise kids with, and the path to get there is unclear to me. But that's part of like the excitement to me is the path of doing that. So once I'm done with my course, one of the main things I want to do is build a harem. I've had rotations, but I've never had a harem of like girls that are all in a relationship with me. We all stay in the same place. We all like spend time together in the same environment. I've never really had that. And I think that that's something that'd be really interesting. And I'd have to level up so many different ways in life to be able to do that. And I'm excited for that journey. And the only question I have long term with multiple women is with having kids with them, women have this competitive thing. Like, if it's not my offspring, what value does it bring to me? But I think the thing, if you have multiple wives that are together, they can actually share the parental resources, which I'll explain what that means. Basically, let's say one girl wants a day off and I have 3 wives. 2 of the wives can take care of all the kids that day. Now, let's say the other girl, she wants a day or 2 off or wants to go, on a trip with me or go somewhere with me. Then they can basically share those that time and share like resources. It's basically just better for everyone to collectively pull, time, money, energy, effort. And I think it's something that's really cool. The times of my life where I felt most like a man have been when I've fallen asleep with 2 girls next to me. Like, it's just been awesome, right? You have one girl here, you've fallen asleep, you feel loved. It just feels normal. After you get used to it, it literally just feels like good and normal, and it's like the way life should be. So I can't imagine myself with just one woman, but I think that also goes back to like I lost my mom pretty early on. I had some like I'm not really that close with my family, so maybe going to something like I want to create my own family, and I want to make sure that it's a big one. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I've talked about this. For me, I'm 33 now. Between the age of 35 or 36, I want to fucking conquer YouTube. Like really become a millionaire, conquer YouTube, have like a really popular channel, develop a lot of like clout and fame. And then between the age of like 35 or 36 to 40, I want to spend like fucking those Instagram thoughts and whatnot. And then between the age of 40 and on, probably either focus on having a family or potentially really focus on like some kind of business that does good for the world or society or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of my.
I'll comment on this. I'm gonna start hair and face like Shrek. So, dude, that's one of the ways I'm leveling up. I broke my nose twice. The second time I broke it was from playing Ultimate Frisbee in 2017, and I was in Canada, so I didn't have access to the healthcare there, and I left really shortly after that. So I was like, I'll just get this fixed afterward. And then, yeah, so now I'm gonna drop probably 10K, finally get my deviated septum fixed, and then get a rhinoplasty. Boom. So, yeah, I think there's no shortage of ways to make yourself more attractive as a man. And, once you have the game stuff down, you have the money stuff down, it's like, then you just find like improving your aesthetics, improving your charisma, improving like your strategy with what you want. I think there's so many different things you can do to level up: style, fashion, grooming, cologne, whatever. But yeah, there's really no end to it.
Let's do like maybe 2 or 3 more questions.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this combo though. Challenge for Alex. Oh, this guy asked really good questions. You guys can feel free to be brutally honest. What are Marcus, Andy, and Austin's thoughts on Alex constantly platforming black pill ideology recently, and consequently blackpilling his entire audience? Ooh.
This idea of platforming as a bad thing is so stupid, and it literally only started after there's a book on it if you want to read it. It's called The Coddling of the American Mind. A psychologist in the U.S. basically broke it down. He's one of the best psychologists, tons of great books. He wrote The Happiness Hypothesis, Jonathan Haidt. So this guy, what happens is people are so soft with debate and stuff that they literally feel attacked when ideas that they don't agree with are brought up. So just because Alex is bringing someone on to discuss their ideas does not mean that he agrees with them. What it is if you bring shitty ideas like black pill to a stage and then you question it and poke holes at it, that's how you show that it is illogical, or that there's a lot of fallacies, or that there's problems with it. So one thing is like, you definitely have to have enough IQ where you can kind of suss out good information, but some people are just kind of on the fence, and they're like, just be honest with yourself. Like, if you fall into that kind of thing, you're probably not in the top 5% of IQ. Like, so Alex bringing it up and him telling you like, no, this is actually what the reality is from like an objective reality standpoint, it's going to help you. So I think him platforming or bringing people on that he disagrees with is actually good. And black pill is one of the dude, Alex is so right. Back in the day, we didn't have fucking black pill shit. If I had that black pill stuff, I'd be like, fuck, I'm like slightly below average height. Let's say I have this issue and that issue. I used to be fucking insecure about a ton of stuff. I have moles. Everyone has things about their body. They're like, And if I was told, dude, it's over for you, I wouldn't have had my journey, dude. In fact, I may have committed suicide. Like, if I thought it was over for me, what's the point, right? So Alex doing that, I think, is literally saving lives, and I think it's a really beneficial thing. That's my take on it.
That's one of the nicest things you ever said about me.
I love you.
I love you too. What do you guys think? Feel free to be brutally honest.
I'll play devil's advocate if you want to.
Go for it, Andy.
And this isn't even necessarily my opinion, but I feel like it fits in with the theme of debate. There's a great quote. I fucking think this is even Nietzsche, so you're going to love this, Austen. If you stare into the abyss for long enough, the abyss stares back. I wonder how much of it has an impact on Alex. That's my only concern. Not that I'm sitting there concerned about you, but I think if you focus on shit like that, you sit there and obsess about...
You're not concerned about me, Andy? I'm concerned about you,
I'm concerned about you. I love you. I don't want you to get hit by a truck or something, but... That would be my only thing. I think if you do platform people like that, I can see the argument both ways. I can see that, like, if I don't platform them and dismantle their ideas, then how are you ever going to know that they're irrational ideas? But then at the same time, if I do platform them, like you said, Austen, what if somebody hears that and goes, oh, shit, I actually kind of agree with that black pill stuff. But I feel like you're already going to fall down that pit anyway, so...
What do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, I got a couple of views on this. Number one, Austin's right. I think you're doing the right thing, not just platforming whatever word you want to use for platforming, but the black pill guys, right? But you're bringing, I think, from what I've seen, a lot of different people onto the channel, regardless of fucking viewer count and shit like that. So I think that is one thing to be applauded as well. The issue I have with the Black Pill guys is, or any topic really, I love the idea of discussion and getting people on. I have a problem when people come on and they just have no, let's say, motivation to actually discuss any topic openly. When people are just super close-minded and are like, this is what I believe it's true, and they cover their eyes to everything else and don't actually discuss. So if you have Black Pill guys on that are discussing and it's entertaining and it's what a lot of people want, and yeah, I mean, fucking, I 1,000% agree with it. I think you're doing exactly the right thing. Me personally, and I'm not saying this is a problem that happened, but me personally, if I was going to talk to anyone about any topic that I disagree in, the first thing I'd want to know is, are you actually willing to understand each other's points? Like, that's all I'd want to get to. But yeah, it's I think overall it's a positive thing that you do. You tend to remain very objective, not only this topic but other topics, right? Very objective for the most part about everything I've seen you do. So I think it is something to be proud of.
My honest thoughts on this, it's if you asked me like 6 months ago, I would have said exactly what Austen thinks. In the last several months, I've talked privately with like the rest of the people who work with me at PWF that I regret having Black Pillars on to the extent that I have. I don't regret having them on in general, but I think I overdid it. And the reason I regret that is because I feel like my chat has become way more toxic in the last year than it ever used to be. So I feel like my chat generally used to be a very like productive, like motivational type of environment where everyone was helping each other, and it still is. There's still definitely that to some extent, but I feel like it's been corrupted by like, because I feel like, okay, with the Black Pillars, like their own channels get banned and they can't, no one else wants to have them on. So even though they don't agree with my message, they gravitate towards me because I'm the only one that will platform them, which, I feel bad about them getting deplatformed. I don't think they should be deplatformed off their own channels. But at the same time, that has like, I feel like brought the wrong kind of people into my audience. And like, I don't mind like the people who just like believe in the Black Pill ideology. Like, hey, listen, I just think looks is what matters and that's it. What I don't like is like the doomer negative people who spend all day telling other dudes it's over, who complain, who become bitter and resentful, who are just literally have no life besides arguing with other men on the internet about how much it's over for them. And that's like the kind of people I brought in, which I kind of regret.
Dude, one thing you can set up is like an auto comment filter where like their comments are just held in this like chamber that never gets seen. It's kind of funny. It's one of my favorite things about YouTube is the most negative people are never heard. So like you could just set up a filter like it's over is just like not allowed or whatever. It's obviously up to your own discretion, but like anything like super, super bad, you can just create a phrase for that and it just automatically gets held in this. So it's basically they're like in an echo chamber by themselves and it doesn't. But yeah. You can also talk to like the motivational people and kind of balance it out or something.
I mean, I'm like very torn when it comes to that because I'm a huge free speech advocate. I think I'm like a big believer in free speech, but at the same time, I think like some of these dudes, and not all of them, to be fair, like there's some Black Pillars who just believe in this shit, but they're actually like cool, normal beings. But there's a lot who are not bad, who are just so negative and such a drain on the community, the PWF community, who are just like basically like fucking just like, I don't know, what really pisses me off is the dudes who don't do the speed dates themselves, but then whenever anyone goes on, they talk shit about them. They're like, oh, it's over, bro. Brutal, man. You have a fucking Indian accent, bro. You're 5'10", bro. You're not a Chad, bro. And that like I feel like discourages other people from putting themselves out there, and that like really fucking annoys me. Like, yo, if you're gonna go on yourself, that's fine, but just like a lot of these people, they'll never go on themselves, but all they do is just talk shit about other people, who I think are just like massive cowards.
Yeah, I feel like you should only be allowed to talk shit if you've been on, right? Like that should be the rule. Like if you want to give feedback, you got to be on. The last thing I wanted to say on this as well, I think like some of them just do it for attention. Right? Like if you're in chat and you're the Black Pill guy just talking shit all the time, you're getting the most attention. And so I feel like at some point it is hard to change your identity or your mind on things if it's working out for you. Like if you're getting the attention within the chat or wherever it might be. Sorry, Austen, what were you saying?
Yeah, and that goes back to the need for significance and connection. People all want to feel significant and connected. I don't even know what I was going to say, but yeah. Oh, I was gonna say anything to do with your race or ethnicity. You should see your own. This is my controversial advice. You should see your own ethnicity as like the coolest shit ever, right? Like Alex should see like Russians as like fucking awesome.
I
Like
do.
they invented all the science and chess
We
domination.
go in and we remove the Nazis from every country.
There you go. And then if you're Indian, you should be like India invented chess and invented the Roman numerals that we use today. Or like the what's it called? Not Roman numerals, but you know what I'm talking about. The Arabic numerals are called Arabic numerals because the Europeans got them from Indians that were in the Middle East, basically. So, like any ethnicity, you should just like be like it's the shit, right?
Yeah, I
Like
agree
if
with
I
that.
was Indian, dude, I'd be fucking pulling girls for chai. I'd be like playing Tunuk, bro. I'd be blasting that shit.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with
you're
that.
basically
high-class
talking about
shit right there.
self-acceptance and confidence and shit like that. Yeah, that goes a hell of a long way. I can answer this question if you want, Alex. I don't know if you have the answer, but I do.
Oh, I just said that I've been messaging with him, but he said his mom recently passed away. He needs a little bit, but he said he's going to come on in the next month or two.
Yeah, that
Do you have
might be
anything to add
delayed.
to that?
Yeah, that might be delayed. He's had to step up as CEO in his company again, so he said he might be busy for a while.
Oh, damn. Yeah. I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good theory session, but dude, we should all like we should game next time. We should go out.
The
We
problem
should
is
do this call from.
we live
Yeah,
on
it's-
different continents.
Yeah, we'll go to Sydney. Yeah, come visit. Just pop over.
Next time I'm in Sydney, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you guys are ever in America,
Yeah, coming in June actually.
all right, hit me up. Are you gonna? What part of America are you gonna be in?
We're doing some boot camps in Austin.
Okay. Well, that's where the Joe Rogan podcast is, and obviously I'm gonna be invited at that point. So, you know,
cool.
right after I get out of the Joe Rogan podcast, I'll swing by.
Yeah, come game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
perfect.
I'll bring Joe too. You know,
Bring Joe, yeah, fucking bring
he's
Joe.
gonna be a
Yeah.
good buddy of mine.
I reckon he'd be all right.
What?
I said, he'd be all right at game. I reckon we could bring him out with us.
I mean, he's got the fame factor that'll probably do the trick for him. I think everyone will recognize him. But yeah, I think this was a good podcast. I do find it like, I mean, we have a pretty good turnout. We have like 210 live viewers. Although it is funny how like I'll do like a stream where I just like fucking roast somebody and I'll get like 400 live viewers, and everyone in the comments will be like, "Bro, we need to see more value pods," and I do a value pod, and it's probably like half the turnout, but it kind of is what it is. But yeah, you guys have any closing thoughts that you want to say about anything, any of the things we discussed, or just anything in general? We'll just go one by
Well,
one.
what you just said leads into a lot of what we talked about, which is you have a negativity bias of your brain, right? So that's the reason why people are gravitate towards scandals and you roasting people and all this type of stuff. And it's the same reason why we assume that it's over or that, you know, we can't game for this reason and that reason. So it actually takes effort to focus on the positive. And like all of us here, we're here because we took action and we assumed the best and we, you know, we were positive and we pushed through. So I'd say that's a big one.
Piggybacking off that, action can be intimidating to take at the start. One of the easiest things to do is just do the smallest, most minimum, I call it baby step, that you possibly can every single day. If you're a guy who's watching this stream going, man, I can't go out and approach, okay, just fucking walk around outside for 10 minutes and look at some women. Do that every day for a week. Think about talking to some women. Start a boot camp. Do something. But just get out there and do something. Don't say that you're not capable of it. Don't say it's too hard. Don't say you're not good enough. Go out and do something after this fucking stream.
Marcus?
Yeah, well said. Yeah, well said. Yeah, look, I think you got a big channel, so there's a lot of people here that are just to jerk off to some entertainment, which is fine. But I think everyone that's watching this right now are here to actually get better with games. They get better with their lives, get better with women. And so, yeah, I mean, the ones watching the scandal videos, I mean, that's their choice. They're gonna have fun doing that, but you know, in 10 years' time, they're probably gonna regret living in their mum's basement, home alone, and with no girls. So, I think, yeah, everyone that is listening to all this advice, I mean, you have 4 people that are very experienced in game, and yeah, I think it's actually very helpful, everything that was brought up today and said. So, yeah, I'd be down to do these again. I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yo, my closing thought is this: everyone who's watching this, Go check out every single person on here's channel. Go to Austen's channel, go to Andy's channel, go to the UMP channel and subscribe to them. Like, show support. Like, we're not asking you guys for money or anything like that. Just literally fucking subscribe to their channel, and that will like show to us that you guys want to see this, and then that will give us motivation to do more of these. Like, we can do. Let us know in the comments if you want to see these like be a semi-regular thing, maybe like bi-monthly or something like that. But I think this is a epic fucking do whatever the fuck is a 4-person duo, but whatever group that we got going here. So yeah, just make sure you check out everyone's channel, show them support. They all have good stuff. I can say every single person on here has really good content. Austen has really fucking funny infield that I love. Andy has really good practical badass fucking Tinder advice, some of which I've never even thought of. Markus has really solid, like very detailed, nuanced fucking technical breakdowns of infield that again I haven't seen anywhere else. So a lot of really good stuff on every person on this channel. So yeah, just check out all their shit, subscribe to them. It really means a lot if you guys can do that. Let's just quickly answer this person's question because he like paid $5. How to add to sex appeal to your photos? I have female friends say that I have good pics and they've done 9.5 on Photofila, but not that many likes. What do you guys think about this?
Oh, yo, I hate Photofila. I'm sorry if you guys
Yes.
promote it, but I fucking hate it. Yo, what you are doing is asking your grandmother which photos you like. That's what Photofila is, by the way. It's asking like an old lady what photos you think are good. So she's going to pick the ones where you're smiling and look cute and feminine and a little pussy, and you're going to get a 9.5, and then some hot fucking 21-year-old girl from the wharf is going to be like, yeah, this guy in his profile looks like a pussy. Right. So what you need to do instead of going to Photofila is ask fucking the coaches, right? Ask Alex, like, what photo's good. You can get advice there. And I'm sure he has some coaching set up for that. Or just ask girls that are your demographic out in the club. Like if you've chatted to a girl, you've closed it, pull out your Tinder and actually ask what is good and what is not. And typically what you're going to look for is photos where you look a little bit more dominant and serious and have your body language open. And I'll let the other guys talk about that in more detail. But just don't rely on Photofila, please.
Yeah, I agree. I think Photofila kind of sucks. Also, it's how you ask the girl. So if you're like, hey, is this a good photo? Most girls will say yes. It's not the correct way to ask the question. The correct way to ask that question is to give the girl a few options. Say, which one of these do you like the most? So it's also really, I have a video on this, but it's really important how you word the question, how you ask the question. Because if you're going to go up to a girl and say, hey, is this a good photo? Most girls will say yes. Like they'll just be like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, you look good in that, right? So, yeah, it's kind of my take on that. I don't know if you guys have
sexual pictures. That's the fucking answer. Like, have really sexual dominant pictures. Can I share my screen? I think you gave me permission. You just have like fucking sexual pictures. Like, have BDSM pictures. Literally, that's the answer. If you don't have, like, these are obviously ones that I have personally done. If you don't have your own, the very first picture here on the top left, I just got that from Google. This is one of the old pictures I use. Just search for BDSM black and white photography. Make sure there's no nudity or anything like that in it. Just whack that as your first picture on Tinder. That's sexual. So just be sexual. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, that's true. Alex has a video, how to get laid by asking for a photo. Yeah, check that out as well. All right, cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Appreciate you guys all joining. I think this was a really good discussion. Yeah, cool. Thank you guys. Appreciate you all.
Appreciate you, man.
I want to see a part 2. Have a good night.
Appreciate you guys.